weekends in the summertime. Made for afternoon baseball. Time to get an autograph, bring the kids to the yard, peanuts, popcorn, Cracker Jack, even some cotton candy on a Saturday afternoon. At Citi Field in New York, Pix 11 Sports presents New York Mets baseball today. The Mets play the Washington Nationals. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you today as the Mets play the middle game of their series against the Nationals. Everything was going right for the Mets for 7 innings last night. Matt Harvey was on the mound, and he was at his spectacular best. 7 tremendous innings for Harvey to get the night started.
And 11 more strikeouts to add to his league-leading total of Ks this season. He's just getting better and better, Gary. You're getting to a point now where maybe he can't get better. He's just honing his pitches, learning how to throw that curveball out of the strike zone down, get the hitters to chase, not throw on the strike. He just knows how to read hitters. There's up and in right there. He did it all.
He threw 109 pitches. He allowed only 3 hits. It's already the 4th time this series had 10 or more strikeouts and no more than 3 hits. That's already tied a Mets club record that was originally set by Tom Seaver. But he came out of the game after 109 pitches, turned it over to the bullpen. David Aardsma got a couple of outs, left with a runner at first base, and then it all fell apart.
Well, in 8th inning, that the Nationals tied the ball game with 3 runs, and this was the big blow off Brandon Lyon, and it was a hanging slider with the bases loaded. The batter before prior, Anthony Rendon, the rookie second baseman, he walked to load the bases. And then in the 9th inning, Parnell, who's been working a lot lately on that last road trip, got touched up for 2 runs and the loss. A big double the opposite field by Desmond.
So 5 runs in the last 2 innings for the Nationals. They claimed a 6-4 victory that Davey Johnson, their manager, called their biggest win of the year so far. So now it's up to Dylan Gee, who's pitching on a full week's rest, to try and get the Mets even in this series and looking to bounce back from a very bad start in Philadelphia.
Well, he had 4 straight terrific starts, so he was kind of due for one there, and the Phillies have his number. He's looking to bounce back. He's 2-0 this year against Washington, and in his career, he's 5-1 against these Nationals, so looking to bounce back.
And the Mets will see a first-time starter, Taylor Jordan, just up from Double-A, makes his debut for the Nationals.
Well, he started out in A-ball and then got promoted to Double-A, 9-1 with an ERA of 1.00 over 14 starts. It's a sinker ball pitcher, doesn't walk people, averages around 7.2 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's earned his promotion. This is his debut right here.
So 24-year-old Taylor Jordan makes his first start for the Nats. Mets and Nats on a Saturday afternoon in New York. All the action coming your way on Pix 11. Mets bullpen last night, but they're headed to their perch and getting ready to bounce back this afternoon as the Mets try and get even in the series with the Nationals. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering. By Tom Warner Cable. Enjoy all the things you love better. Call 1-855-WANT-TWC. By Mazda and the all-new Mazda 6. By Empire City Casino. It's all new with more of the hottest table games and the slots you love. Let's play. By the Volkswagen Sign Then Drive event, where you can drive away for practically just your signature. And finally, welcome to the new state of New York. Plan your vacation now at ilovenewyork.com. Vote Brandon Nimmo for the All-Star Futures game to be played Sunday, July 14th at Citi Field. Vote now through tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m. on the dot at Mets.com, at MLB.com/futures finalists. Keys to the game brought to you by Jaguar. See the new model year lineup at JaguarUSA.com.
Well, as we mentioned on the open, Dylan G has pitched well against the Nationals over his career. The numbers say everything. Keep it up. And the rookie, he's going to be a little nervous. Get to him early. Don't let him get his rhythm. This young man throws strikes. And the bullpen, let's be honest here. The bullpen has been outstanding of late, and they just had a bad night last night. So get them back on track.
Dylan G making his way in, getting ready for his 16th start of the year. Mets and Nats, first pitch coming up from Citi Field. Better, call 1-855-WANT-TWC. Terry Collins and Matt Harvey talking things over in the Mets dugout. It's a right cross, by the way.
You've got to keep him happy. You've got 9 no decisions this year. My goodness.
Here's the starting lineup for Davey Johnson and the Washington Nationals, brought to you by your local Tri-Honda dealer, and he goes with the exact same starting 8 that he used last night. Nats have had trouble scoring runs, so that was big for them last night, scoring 5 runs in the last 2 innings to overcome a 4-1 deficit, putting them a game above 500 for the season.
And today's starter, Dylan G, you can see his numbers here. He's pitched much better the last 5 starts out. Had the big hiccup in Philadelphia, but Philadelphia has his number, particularly Ryan Howard, who took him deep twice, gave up 3 home runs in that game. But he's getting very close to evening that record out at 5-7, looking to go 6-7. And we'll look at the defense brought to you by New York Life Insurance Company, and that is your Metropolitan defense, folks. And Neuenhuis back in center field. Bird, of course, has been so outstanding. He's been playing every day in right. Eric Young's a new left fielder. The infield is always the same. Satin is another start at first base. Has been doing a fantastic job since being called up.
For Neuenhuis' first start in a week, he started last Saturday in Philadelphia. Juan Lagares has been getting most of the time in center, both because of his fine defense and the fact the Mets have been facing a spate of left-handed pitching, but facing a right-hander today in Taylor Jordan. They'll face 3 more lefties the next 3 games. Denard Span will lead things off for the Nationals. Span a couple of hits last night, including a double in that big 8th inning against Josh Edgin. And if you remember that play, Lagares was able to short hop the ball in center field, made a throw to second base to try to get Span, and Daniel Murphy inexplicably cut it off. If he lets that ball go, Span might be out at second, and the Nats might have gotten nothing in that 8th inning. First pitch of the day by G, and it's in for a call strike, 0-1.
Well, defense is always overlooked part of the game. And Span, a much better career home hitter at home than away.
And he bluffs the bunt, takes the curveball for a strike, and it's 0-2.
No, G has been pitching better the last 5 times out because he's been letting it loose. He's got his curveball back, and I've always liked Dylan, to be honest with you.
He's got a couple of extra days of rest coming into this start, and that was done for a couple of reasons. One was to give Dylan more rest because he's had that ongoing forearm tendonitis that has bothered him since the spring. There's the off-speed pitch to strike out Span for the first out of the day. So 3 pitches and Span is done.
Fastball, curve, and now a changeup. 0-2. Sinking away, right to the glove. Nice pitch. 3 pitches. Go sit down.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Anthony Rendon. Rendon 0 for 3 last night, but he drew a big walk in that 8th inning. A close 3-2 pitch from Brandon Lyon that set the stage for Zimmerman's tying hit.
Well, this young man in his first 28 games is hitting .327, and he has taken that job at second base.
Danny Espinosa had been hurt, but once he was healthy, they sent him down. And Espinosa's struggling in AAA as well. He may never get his job back. Rendon pops one foul off the right side.
Well, it remains to be seen, but Davy's going to ride him for a while. He's been, when you're hitting 300 as he has.
Yeah, I don't think Rendon's going anywhere.
And the downside is that he's not really a second baseman. He's made 8 errors in this first 28 games. That's a lot of lapses in the field.
5 straight strikes from G, and he throws one inside. A ball and 2 strikes to Rendon with Ryan Zimmerman on deck. The other reason G was pushed back was to split up G and Jeremy Hefner in the rotation and split up Harvey and Wheeler in the rotation. You want to split up the guys who pitch somewhat similarly. Harvey and Wheeler, the 2 hard throwers. G and Hefner, more finesse pitchers.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You want to not have back-to-back similar pitchers for a lineup to face.
Zach, who goes tomorrow, his first home start. Curveball grounded to short, and Quintanilla throws out Rendon, 2 down. So G has set down the first 2.
Yeah, it's hat day today, and they're orange hats.
They are orange.
In honor of Rusty Staub? Le Grand Orange?
Well, that, and you know, the fans are true to the orange and blue.
And Rusty was here last night at the ballpark.
It was nice to see Rusty. He's been a little bit under the weather, but doing much better. Here's Ryan Zimmerman, 2 for 4 last night, including that bases clearing double.
Well, that was the big mistake last night that I think Lyon, when he went home, probably tossed and turned a bit while trying to go to sleep, was walking Rendon that set up Zimmerman, who was, I think, their best clutch hitter.
You know, Terry Collins faced questions after the game about taking Harvey out after 7 innings and 109 pitches on a humid night, and I could not understand those questions at all. Harvey was clearly gassed after that 7th inning.
We noticed the heavy breathing in that 7th inning. And, you know, a big, strong kid like Harvey, who's diligent in his work ethic. I mean, he's not out of shape. He's fit as a fiddle. But it doesn't always translate into going 9 innings out there on a mound on a hot, humid afternoon. And pitchers today aren't conditioned to go 9. And I just disagree with that. And I know the precious arms and the pitch counts, But there's the downside of it. Now, Gary, it's a ball forward to Zimmerman. 25 years ago, if Harvey's on the mound, he goes 9. And see you later. With his stuff, he goes 9. You go in. The bullpen has a day off to rest. You never have to use Parnell, who's been overworked, and you go back. You book it.
But to me, the much larger question last night about the way Terry used his pitching was after Aardsma had 2 out and a runner at first. It's a 3-run game. Denard Span, who's not a home run hitter, is coming up, and he goes to the lefty. And that, to me, was the one move that I think you had to question. Here's Adam LaRoche, 0 for 4 last night. And he drives one toward the gap in right center field. And that one will go 1 hop up against the wall and over, and that will cost the Nationals a run. Zimmerman would have easily scored from first base, but because the ball kicked over the wall, he'll have to go back to third.
Well, that is a huge break, and if you're Adam LaRoche, he just jumped on this first fastball. He's been in a hot streak since May 2nd. He's caught fire.
That was a very lucky bounce for the Mets.
Low ball hitter right into his wheelhouse, out over the plate, full extension.
So runners at second and third with 2 down, and Jason Worth the batter. Worth 1 for 4 last night. He got the 9th inning rally started for the Nationals with a leadoff double against Bobby Parnell.
He hustled that double too. There's Davey. Had a little chat with Davey. Nice talk with Davey before the game.
So an early crisis moment for G. Second and third and 2 down. And he gets one in at the knees to Worth, 0-1.
And Davey said something very interesting to me. He said the middle of the lineup sets the tone for the rest of the lineup on how they approach their at bats. And he goes, I'm trying to get my middle hitters to gear on fastball, and they take too many fastballs. That's kind of an epidemic in baseball today.
Well, Worth is a guy who's always taken a lot of pitches.
Well,
that time chases one out of the strike zone, 0-2.
Davey was highlighted Worth. He said Worth takes pride in really working counts deep on pitchers. And, you know, I just think sometimes, like Miguel Cabrera said, that one fastball you get the first at bat, first pitch might be the best pitch you get to hit the whole day.
Zimmerman at third, LaRoche at second with 2 out. G ahead on the count on Worth, 0-2. Just missed that outside corner.
And I think it missed. G thought he had it. We'll take a peek. I think it's a good call here. Just missed. That's a tough one to take. That can go either way. Dana DeMuth calls it a ball.
Well, you just chased the same pitch a moment ago. Now it's 1-2. And Worth fouls off that slider. A ball and 2 strikes. Dana DeMuth, the crew chief, has the plate today. Angel Hernandez umpiring at first. Paul Nard at second. And Doug Eddings is the umpire at third.
I remember when Dana DeMuth, the home plate umpire and crew chief, was a rookie umpire. I was still playing.
You're old.
Thanks, Gary. I know you're ornery today. You didn't sleep well again last night.
Catching up to you, though. Much older today than I was yesterday. Reached for and fouled off. By the way, the walk that G issued to Zimmerman in this inning, G has now walked 22 batters this year. Half of his walks have come in the first inning.
Trying to find for a control pitcher.
It's interesting because he's had a lot of walks early in games, and he's had a lot of home runs against him in the middle of games. He's given up 14 home runs. They've all come after the first pass in the batting order. 1-2. That's too high with the fastball. 2-2. Well, we mentioned G and that biceps tendonitis. He's been pushed back a couple of times. He had one start where he said he couldn't have made the start if he hadn't had a couple of extra days of rest. And I talked to Terry Collins about it today. He said they're monitoring him very closely during games. And it'll flare up while games are in progress. There's the 2-2, and he gets him. G strikes out Worth, and the Nats strand a pair in scoring position. 2 strikeouts in the inning for G. Mets come to bat in the bottom of the first with no score. Kirk Neuenhuis gets the start in center field. Otherwise, the same unit that Terry Collins has been running out there. Mets have won 8 of their last 13 games despite a tough loss last night. And today they'll go up against Taylor Jordan, making his major league debut.
Well, the 24-year-old, 6'3", 190 pounds from Merritt Island, Florida. You can see the innings worked there. Look at the walks, 15. That is outstanding over 90 innings. He averages 7.2 strikeouts per 9 innings in his work this year in those 14 starts. And we'll take a look at the national defense, and that's also brought to you by New York Life Insurance. And, of course, the Gold Glove over there at first base. And you also got another Gold Glove around the other corner in Zimmerman. He's won one. So good defense. You got Worth out there in right field, who is a Gold Glove caliber outfielder, and Span has really solidified the outfield and center field defensively for these Nationals.
Eric Young will lead things off, 1 for 5 in his Citi Field debut last night. Now has a 7-game hitting streak. Those are his overall numbers. He's hitting .359 in his 9 games as a Met. Young, Murphy, and Wright to try and get it started against Jordan, who's got to be feeling a healthy number of jitters. And the first pitch sails outside. I mean, Jordan has come an incredibly long way in a short period of time. He began this year pitching in the Carolina League, that single A ball. He made 6 starts down there. They promoted him to Double A, Harrisburg, where he made 8 starts. They take his first pitch out of play.
I've never seen that before.
Don't they normally wait to the first strikeout?
I've never seen that before.
I guess if he has a Hall of Fame career now, they will have had the first pitch he threw go to Cooperstown.
He was 2-1 in A ball, and they called him up to Double A, where he really excelled.
He was 7-0, 0.83 in Double A.
And his last 6 starts, he went 6-0 with an ERA of .84. So that'll get you promoted.
Murphy to follow, right behind him.
He's taken the spot of Danny Herron, as was put on the DL.
That sinker from Jordan, and it's 2-2. Well, Herron's biggest problem was not any physical issue. It's just he couldn't get anybody out.
Giving up some long ball.
Signed him for $13 million, and he has had an awful time.
It's good work if you can get it.
2-2 to Young, and he pops one foul. By the way, Matt Harvey has always said he has the 24-hour rule after his starts. Looks like maybe it was only an 18-hour rule today. He appears to be moving on.
He's fine.
He's great.
Let me tell you something. This kid is just have a guardian angel over his right shoulder. Make sure keep him healthy for the next 17 years.
That one goes to the backstop, 3-2. And the thing about starting pitchers, there's only so much they can control. And you know, the 1-loss record, and he's 7-1. It's not like, you know, he's 3-4. He's 7-1. He certainly should have more victories, but you know, starting pitchers can't control how many runs the team scores and whether the bullpen gets the job done. Jordan off the mound, and it makes the play on Young for the first down. You know, there was a time when one-loss record was a be-all end-all for a starting pitcher, but you know, you said it earlier, starting pitchers don't work as many innings. That means there's less that's under their control in terms of garnering wins and losses, and last night was a perfect example.
Well, I remember Bob Gibson saying, asked by a reporter, you know, it was 100 degrees in St. Louis on that turf, and Bob was in the you know, late 30s, and they asked him, you know, why you always get these complete games as a prideful thing, and Gibson said, no, I looked down the bullpen and so he was sitting there because I'm going to finish. I'll never forget it. My locker was 2 stalls away from him, unfortunately, as a rookie. And I stayed as far away from Bob as possible.
I want to know how far away the bullpen guys were when he said that.
So Bob was harsh.
Murphy 1 for 5 last night. And he tops one on the ground to the second baseman, Rendon. And so Jordan has a couple of ground ball outs. That's his game. He's a sinker ball pitcher. And the first 2 Mets have pounded it into the ground.
What's right, and there's those starts in A-ball and Double-A, the 270 outs he recorded, this young man right here. 210 were via the ground ball or strikeout. 138 were by ground balls, 72 by Ks. So he's definitely a ground ball pitcher.
Here's David Wright after his day off in Colorado on Thursday. Came back last night, went 2 for 5, hitting .384 over his last 20 games. David's in the top 10 in the league in both on base percentage and slugging percentage. Bats with 2 out and nobody on, and takes it high from Jordan, who's thrown a first pitch ball to each of his first 3 hitters.
It's got a little bit of the Scott Rice kind of delivery. He's got this young man. He's got a little sling, a little peculiar. Watch the way his arm action is. It is a little unorthodox.
And he falls behind on right 3-0 with Marlon Byrd on deck.
So watch his pitching arm as he takes it back away from the glove and gets to the point of release. It's unusual. It almost stiffens it out. And he slings it. Very interesting. Now from the stretch, it'll be interesting to see, because if he pitches like that, he's going to be very slow to the plate to be someone you can steal off of.
Right. Because it's not even like he's carrying his arm straight back. He's straight back and then turning it even further back toward first base. And I would imagine with that ball coming from behind him like that, it's got to be awfully hard to pick up.
Yes, it would be. You'd have to stay focused on the point of release.
See that sink on that fastball. You get him to 3-2 on right. And David takes high, ball 4. 36th walk of the year for Wright, and the Mets have their first base runner.
Well, welcome to the big leagues, Mr. Jordan.
Jordan had walked only 9 batters in 54 innings in Double-A. So he's a strike thrower, but maybe not against David Wright. Now he'll face Marlon Byrd. Now Byrd was supposed to have a day off today. That was Terry Collins' plan all week. But he got to the ballpark today, looked at his available options, and said, you know what? I can't take Marlon Byrd out of the lineup.
No, you can't.
So Marlon is starting his 19th straight game. And remember, he's 35 years old, so he's got to get some time off here and there. But he has been a stalwart for the Mets, especially this month. And he gets hit by the pitch, and the Mets have 2 men on.
2 guys got hit by the pitch. Suzuki, too.
The ricochet.
Tries to throw the fastball in. Gets,
bing.
Yep.
Bing.
Ricochet rabbit.
And Deputy Drupalong.
Easy. Did you learn that at Columbia?
I learned that sitting in front of my TV watching cartoons just the way you did. So they'll meet at the mound. By the way, while we have a moment here, I've got to do a mea culpa from last night. All of my basketball friends texted and emailed me furiously because last night I completely messed up. I was talking about the Knicks' #1 draft pick, Tim Hardaway, and I clearly confused him with his Michigan teammate, Trey Burke. That's what 3 time zones in 3 days will do for you. So, pardon, I apologize for the confusion. Welcome to the club.
I had my moment last night too, and I said Matt Harvey. I thought he was up, and he was like it was a 6th hitter in the lineup. I said, well, Matt Harvey's a good hitting pitcher. I went, oh my god.
Well, you were looking ahead. That's what you're supposed to do. It's Josh Satin with 2 out and 2 on. Satin had a big night last night. 3 for 3, couple of doubles, 2 RBIs, and he takes a strike from Jordan.
Satin has done a very, very nice job since getting a chance here.
Satin hitting a .360, making his 7th start today. Batting here with 2 out and 2 on. There, Jordan gets ahead of him.
That's a changeup right there. That's a work in progress. That's his 3rd pitch. Jordan. It's got a decent slider, they say. Best pitch, of course, the sinker. That's the first time we've seen his changeup.
Kirk Neuenhuis would be next, but Jordan quickly ahead on Satin 0-2 after walking a batter and hitting a batter. And that just missed. 1-2. Taylor Jordan grew up just a few miles away from the National Spring Training Complex in Florida. Merritt Island's about 8 miles from Vieira, where the Nationals train, so they basically found him in their backyard. 9th round pick in 2009 out of Brevard Junior College. One and 2 to Satin, and he fouls it back.
Well, Jordan's already had Tommy John surgery, so another one of these guys that's had the operation performed.
And that was just August of 2011. Last year he came back and threw only 51 innings. So he's a guy they're going to keep an eye on. He's already thrown 80 innings, 90 innings this year in the minor leagues. So
they say that he's getting his velocity back this year.
Oh, you can see he's throwing 93, 94. In the early portion of this game, they've clocked him as high as 96 before the surgery. 1-2. And Satin takes just off the plate. 2-2.
Good eye. Notice that Satin choking up. I like that. Chokes up on the bat with 2 strikes. Just a slight choke up on a half-inch.
2 out, 2 on, 2-2 to Satin. And he pulls one down to third, and Zimmerman takes the easy force to end the inning. Let's get 2 men on and leave the pair. No score after 1. Your local Chevy dealer at ChevyOffers.com. Now, the Nationals, of course, have descended from the Montreal Expos. So our question today, who had the best Expos nickname? Was it Kid, Gary Carter, Le Grand Orange, Rusty Staub, the Hawk, Andre Dawson, or Rock, Tim Raines? Great question.
I would have added an E, Bill the Spaceman Lee.
Yeah. Text your answer to 56812. And then there was Youppi.
Oh, gosh.
Of course, Youppi was the big orange mascot for the Expos.
Looked like a Sesame Street character.
Would have fit right in with the orange caps today. Ian Desmond leads off. Desmond homered and had the game-winning double in the 9th inning yesterday. And he bluffs a bunt and takes a strike. Desmond red hot in the month of June. In fact, he's driven in 25 runs in the month of June, which is more than any Nationals player has ever driven in June. Roger Bernardino on deck. Kurt Suzuki behind him. G worked out of a first inning jam by striking out Worth with 2 in scoring position. And Desmond lifts one to right center. And Newman Heights angling in. 1 away. So Desmond is retired. 1 out and nobody on. And now the speedy Roger Bernardino, 1 for 4 last night.
I think it's an important note right here for all you kids watching at home. You see the batting average right here, 184 for Bernardino. He's getting his 2nd start in this series. Why? He plays defense. He's got a strong arm. He's not a liability. He made a nice catch last night and a Met rally inning. And when you play defense, the manager is more apt to keep you in the lineup.
And he drags the bunt. G with the bare hand flip, and he makes the play and then does a somersault. Nicely done by Dylan G against the speedy Bernardino. 2 down.
Very nice play by G here. Bernardino, you would think, would want to bunt down the third base line, but G covers it nicely. Bare hand. Nice athletic move there.
So fielding his position. G makes the play. 2 out and nobody on. Kurt Suzuki 0 for 3 last night, and he's really been struggling. Just 6 for his last 47. Suzuki's been playing virtually every day with Wilson Ramos out for nearly 2 months now with a hamstring injury. They're hoping to have Ramos back by late next week. Suzuki down to 211 for the year, and he takes ball 1. That's got Suzuki last summer, and he played a significant role for them down the stretch as they made their way into the postseason with a 98 victory season. Became the 4th different team that Davey Johnson had managed to a first place finish.
Well, they had a lot of guys that had great seasons last year that were the bench players. Tracy did a nice job. Lombardozzi was a big key to this ball club. Tyler Moore was phenomenal off the bench, and they're, you know, it just doesn't always, the cards don't come out aces all the time. Each year is different.
Well, another case in point, Taylor Jordan starting on the mound for the Nats today is their 9th different starting pitcher this year. Last year he used only 8 all year. So you have different seasons with different fortune, different results.
And sometimes everything goes your way. Davey said before the game to me that nothing has gone their way this year.
Little looper to shallow left, and that's going to fall for a base hit. So Suzuki with a 2-out single, the 2nd hit off Dylan G.
So optimistic Davey Johnson after he said that. Really, this is a blooper right here. Hanging curve that stayed in enough to jam Suzuki. Davey said, you know, with 2nd half, I just feel we're going to have a run in the 2nd half. We've had enough. The table's got to turn.
Well, he called last night's victory their biggest win of the year so far. And, you know, they're scheduled to get Bryce Harper back from the DL on Monday, and that should make a big difference with their offense. Here's Taylor Jordan's first big league plate appearance. 2 for 8 in the minors this year. And he takes ball 1. The Braves won last night to stay 5.5 games up on the Nats.
And I like that old-fashioned newspaper look there. Very nice.
We get very artistic. Popped up. Bird coming in toward the line with the sunglasses on. Side retired. A base hit and 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 2nd. Mets and Nats, no score. Here's to a life less routine, the Lexus RX. So far, so good for Dylan G. Got out of a first inning jam, wended his way through the second, and now Taylor Jordan, fresh off his first big league at bat, goes back to the mound. Now, Jordan has a chance to pitch here at Citi Field in a couple of weeks, but he hopes not to. You see, he's been picked for the Futures game, which will be held here on Sunday, July 14th. But if he's in the big leagues, he can't be part of the Futures game.
You know what I say to that? The heck with the Futures game.
Of course. I'm sure that's what Taylor Jordan's saying. You know, Futures game's nice. I want the big league meal money.
Yes.
Among other things.
Get that time in, too.
Of course, the Mets will have a couple of their prospects on the mound here for the Futures game. Both Rafael Montero and Noah Syndergaard have been chosen for the game, and the Mets are stumping for Brandon Nimmo to be voted in as well. Kirk Nieuwenhuis leads off for the Mets in the home second. Nieuwenhuis getting his 11th start of the year, his first in a week, hitting just 140. And first pitch swinging, pops one in foul ground, and that will sail out of play. Nieuwenhuis, Buck, and Quintanilla for the Mets in the second. Buck and Quintanilla both struggling mightily right now. Between them, one for their last 42.
Buck has really been mired in a big slump. You know, we know the big April that he had.
Well, since the first week in May, Buck is hitting about 170. And, you know, last year he hit under 200 with the Marlins, and he's heading in that direction again. Good changeup that time by Jordan. That's a self-taught circle changeup.
Sinker. So always a focal point on a pitcher that throws a sinker ball is to make him get it up.
Line to left, but right there is Bernardino. One out.
So, and it's not that simplistic. Some guys have bigger sinkers than others. Some guys have later sinkers than others. But from your mind's eye, you've got to judge when that ball comes out of the pitcher's hand, and it happens in a rapid. You got a split second. You got to know the elevation of that pitch, where it's going to be a strike, and when it's not going to be a strike. It's a vertical observation, obviously, and that's what you have to focus on with the guys with the very, very good sinkers.
Here's Buck, one for his last 26. After going 0 for 4 last night. Batting average down to 207 for the year.
And one thing about a sinker, Gary, you know where it's going to sink. So I'm a left-hand hitter facing a right-hand batter, a right-hand pitcher. His sinker is going to sink away from me. So you anticipate that sink when it's coming, and you know it's a fastball. You anticipate where it's going to sink to in the strike zone. That's a good one right there, I'll tell you that. That's that changeup. I like his changeup. I thought that was a work in progress. That bottom drops out of that changeup. He's thrown around 3 of them like that so far.
Well, if he can have that kind of success with his third pitch coming up from Double-A, that's a big weapon for him. 95, first time we've seen that from Jordan, and now it's 3-1.
So this has been the big change in the game now as far as pitchers are concerned. They're all coming up with changeups. They're teaching them early in their careers. They're getting roughed up because they got to learn to command it, not give it away.
Buck hits one out to right field, but Worth back at 2 strides. 2 out.
Take a look at the grip on this. This is the changeup. Oh yeah, he's got it deep in his, not in his palm, but he's got it lodged deeper in his hand. It doesn't even look like a circle change to me, that grip. Maybe we can take another look at it if we get a chance. But that's he's got long fingers too. I remember how long Doc's fingers were. He used to smother the ball. J.R. Richards, of course, had the biggest hands I've ever seen.
Pedro Martinez, for a small man, has incredibly long fingers. 2 out and nobody on. Now Omar Quintanilla, 0 for his last 16. It's been a very odd run for Quintanilla. He's been playing shortstop every day for a month. He's had a couple of very hot streaks and a couple of very cold streaks in a short period of time.
Well, he finished cold last year with Baltimore, correct?
Right, he went 0 for his last 31, I think. And Jordan makes the play here, so Quintanilla's latest cold spell stretches to 17 at bats. 1-2-3 inning for Jordan. No score after 2 at Citi Field. Amazing things are happening here. Bryce Harper's been sitting out with knee bursitis. He was hurt for a long time and played through it before they finally shut him down. Now he is just a couple of days away from returning for the Nationals, and that'll be a huge boost to their offense.
And he came out in the papers and kind of was dictating about his rehab, and Davey Johnson snapped right back in the papers at him. I talked to Davey about it, and he laughed. He said, I called him in my office. I told him, hey, you don't do that. I'll tell you when you're coming up. I'll tell you when you're playing. And he said, Harper apologized.
Well, it wasn't quite the same as Brian Cashman and Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, boy.
Here's Denard Span leading off in the third and takes a curveball for a strike. Span struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. You know, Davey didn't have to be publicly profane in order to get his point across. G with the 0-1, and Span pops one up in foul ground. Right hurrying over and gets there, 1 away.
Well, interesting how G has attacked Span. Let him off both at bats with curveballs and not giving him the fastball. And there's G's grip on the change. And there's your circle change. Mr. John Franco.
Frank Viola.
John Franco was at the ballpark last night. I ran into Johnny after the game.
Could have used him last night. Here's Rendon. Swings at the fastball and misses. 0-1.
Rendon's got a bit of a long swing. I know he's hot right now.
He's only hit 1 big league home run in 107 at bats. But even though he's a little guy, they do figure that he's going to hit for some power. They love his bat speed.
Well, you know what I like about Rendon? A lot of the players now today, they all got normal physiques. I got tired of that, how everybody looked like Charles Atlas in the 90s and early 2000s. They're looking like normal players now.
upset with himself after that last fastball sailed. Behind 3-1 with Zimmerman on deck.
It's the first jet just took off over the stadium in quite a while.
Remember that? Remember airplanes over the ballpark?
It's not as bad. And remember,
don't get into the ball anymore.
They would not, even in the World Series, they would not change the flight pattern in '86 for the World Series when the planes flew off over the stadium. David Dinkins, if I recall, was the first one to do it in the U.S. Open in tennis.
Exactly. That's when it changed. Out to left field, and Eric Young is there. And Rendon retired 2 out. That is exactly right. Every once in a while, though, in the latter days at Shea, when you got a low ceiling, you'd still get some heavy rumbling. But here, since Citi Field opened, you barely ever hear any airplanes. You love those airplanes.
I used to I use it to my advantage. Rusty, it's interesting. Rusty loved to hit with the planes going off, taking off, because he said the outfielders could not hear this crack of the bat and how hard you hit it. And that makes perfect sense. Me, I used it as an excuse to step out and break up a pitcher's rhythm. If the pitcher's out there dealing, they knew that I would step out even if he wasn't dealing.
Zimmerman walked his first time up, and G finally throws him a strike. That's very interesting about Rusty's theory.
Yep.
That the fielders couldn't hear the crack of the bat with the airplanes going over.
Yep. And so obviously they think he's taking a full swing and he gets jammed. They're not going to know it.
It's a couple of blue pits in there. 2-1 to Zimmerman.
Rusty wasn't about to get a couple of extra hits in the course of a season with his legs.
I didn't see Rusty right at the beginning of his career when he came up with Houston. Could he ever run?
No, but he always had a great arm.
Right.
I do know that playing the 1963 season, and Rusty's a first baseman, right fielder.
19 years old, right?
Yep. And he had his arm in right field was a -3, I believe, in '63.
Is that good?
That's outstanding.
Well, Zimmerman walks for the second time. The only 2 walks G's given up today. And so the Nats have a 2-out base runner. Adam LaRoche coming up.
I'll say this. To compare Rusty's -3, I believe it's -3. Willie Mays, who had a great arm in '63 in Stratomatic. Willie Mays is a -5. So you have a 1 to 20 running. Faster guys are 1 to 19, 1 to 17. Mays will take away 5 from that. So a 1 to 19 becomes 1 to 14. Follow me?
Getting a little strato esoteric on us here. I don't know if that's a word, but I just made it up. Adam LaRoche hit a long ground rule double his first time up. So what you're saying is that Mays was good.
Well, you know I've been up here for how many years saying the greatest player I ever saw play.
That's one I've ever seen too. And LaRoche hits one out to left. Young has it lined up. Side retired. G getting a lot of fly ball outs the last couple of innings, working in his favor. No score in the third. lead off for the Mets. And with news about another Mets starting pitcher, let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Well, we watched Dylan G today, Gary, and you sometimes have to remind yourself that he is pitching and has been pitching for a couple of years with a tear in his labrum in his shoulder. So it's something that is possible. And I spoke with Jonathan Neese at length today for a while in the Mets clubhouse. He, of course, diagnosed with a small tear in his rotator cuff, and he stressed to me they told him it was a very, very small tear. They told him possibilities, some of it could definitely heal, and definitely a possibility it's something he could pitch with. The big issue for him was all the inflammation that he was experiencing. He's set to undergo an MRI on Thursday, and if that inflammation is down, then he's going to go and try and pitch again, start to throw off the mound again, things like that, get back into pitching shape. The one thing he has been doing is rehabbing quite a bit. He's doing all these shoulder exercises. What he does is 2 days on and then 1 day off. So he says there's no pain. Says there hasn't been any pain at all since the last game he's pitched. I asked him how it's affected him just throughout the year, and he said, the biggest thing for me has been, I didn't feel pain until that last start.
They called that a fair ball.
I thought it hit him.
Now they changed it. Third base umpire giving help to Dana DeMuth. Doug Eddings came in to tell DeMuth that it was indeed a foul, and G knew it. That's why he stopped running. Sorry, Kev. Go right ahead.
I'm glad you did that because I got the sun glare and I couldn't see anything there. So that was a good assist, Gary. But he said, the biggest thing for me is in between starts, I just haven't felt good once all year. Hopefully now with this rest, I can get back to doing that. So the MRI on Thursday will be an important step, guys.
Well, certainly the Mets, when they went to this season, they counted on John Neese as a given. He was their opening day starter this year. And the season has not gone as well as Neese would have hoped. But the Mets are a much better team when he is in their rotation. G out on strikes. First major league strikeout for Taylor Jordan, so they'll save that ball. There it is. Put that one on the mantelpiece.
Don't confuse them. He's got 2 balls now.
First pitch he threw, and now his first strikeout.
Correct.
He'd like to have another one by the end of the day. Here's Eric Young, who had a comebacker his first time up. So far, so good for Taylor Jordan. First time through the Mets batting order. He's not allowed to hit. Amidst the debris last night, I'm not even sure we mentioned it at the end of the game. The Mets last night set a team record. 27 straight home games without scoring more than 5 runs. Young hits it out to center field, chasing Span back, but he'll get there. 2 out. The last time the Mets scored more than 5 runs in a game, it's been more than 2 months. April the 24th against the Dodgers. That's when Jordani Valdespin hit the walk-off grand slam in the bottom of the 10th. 7-3 final. That's the last time they scored more than 5 at home. It's been crazy, this team's inability to score in their own ballpark.
Even in this stretch where they've played well, still it's been a struggle for them to put the points on the board.
Now here they are facing a first-time starter for the 3rd time this year. They faced Fernandez earlier in the year. Marlins, John Gast with the Cardinals. There you see the home and road contrast in the batting average, the runs per game. Well, stark contrast.
That is the worst home record in the National League. 10 under 500, and this club now, it happened to them last year. They struggled here, and they're going to have to get over that. You have to make hay when you play home.
The funny thing is, the first few years of Citi Field before they moved the fences in last year, you blamed it on guys trying too hard to hit home runs. Well, home runs have not really been the issue. I mean, they've got 8 fewer at home, but that's not as stark a contrast as the batting average. The batting average with runners in scoring position. Yep. That shouldn't really make a difference home and road, should it? 3-0 to Murphy, and that's a strike.
It makes me think that maybe, I always said, Gary, that I always felt more pressure playing at home in front of the home folks, and I was totally relaxed on the road, because you want to do well for the home folks when you play at home. So I can see
Murphy hits one up the middle, and there's the Mets' first base hit of the day.
I can see a team collectively putting pressure on itself more at home than on the road. And Murph gets there's a high sinker. When they get that sinker ball above the waist, it stops sinking. It just stays flat. So Murph, who's not really hit it firing on all cylinders right now, just manages to get his one a day to keep the doctor away.
Here's David Wright, who walked on 3-2 pitches first time up. And David takes one the other way, but right at Worth, and that retires the side. So a base hit and a man left on. We played 3 now at Citi Field on a nice Saturday afternoon with no score. Afternoon for your All-Star Gnome, presented by Pepsi. The first 25,000 fans attending the 110 game against the Diamondbacks will receive an All-Star Gnome with a G. Get to Mets.com for tickets.
I love the way you pronounce that. Gnome.
Gnome, like Alaska, but with a G.
Very nice.
Jason Worth leads off the 4th inning against Dylan G. Worth struck out with a couple of runners in scoring position in the opening inning.
Struck out on I believe a 2-2 changeup. Not sure about the count, but it was a changeup in the dirt.
Taylor Jordan looking a little wide-eyed, but fully acclimated. 3 innings into his big league career, and Worth slams one down the left field line. Foul.
Worth's a nice player. Let me tell you, he's solid in all categories of the game. Base running, he's threat at the plate, outfield, arm, steal a base. He's a nice player.
Well, there was a lot of criticism, and some of it from us, when the Nationals signed him to a 7-year big money contract. Because in Philadelphia, he was seen much more as a complimentary player than as a star player. Of course, he had a lot of stars around him with Utley and Rollins and Howard and all those.
He had that perfect park for him, too. That little bandbox in Philadelphia and that right center field was, he'd like to go the other way. And it's not that happening for him at Nationals Park.
And G strikes him out with a slider. Second time he's gotten Worth. 3rd strikeout of the day for Dylan G. 1 out in the 4th.
Hey, you're ahead in the count. See if the fish are biting. Don't have to throw a strike.
He has always had a soft spot in his heart for facing the Nationals. After all, it was against Washington that he made his major league debut September of 2010. And if you remember that first start against the Nats in D.C., he threw 5 hitless innings in his debut. I mean, how many people do that? He was broken up on a home run
by Willie Harris, who would then later play for the Mets.
Willie Harris of the same Willie Harris of the Braves.
And
always made the catches against us.
And came to the Mets.
Thorn in the Mets side.
Change up, and it's 1-1 to Ian Desmond, who flied out to center his first time up.
I corrected that pronoun, you know.
Desmond flying to center his first time up.
Watch his head here. See, watch him. Well, he pulled off on that curveball.
Fastball right on the corner. 2-2. Dillon's facing the Nats for the third time this year. He's only allowed 1 run in now 15 2/3 innings against Washington this year. And a half swing and a miss. And Desmond's out on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts for G to start the fourth.
Well, what I noticed, we noticed with Harper, I did it again. Harvey last night, ahead in the count now. Met pitchers, this is G now backing it up, are learning you don't have to throw a strike. See if the guys will chase with your secondary stuff.
The Nats are a free swinging team. They're 12th in the league in walks. One of the reasons for their offensive issues. Here's Bernardino, who tried to bunt his way on, and G made a terrific play to throw him out in the second inning.
I remember Bernardino had a 2-home run day here at Citi Field, didn't he? About 3 years ago.
Also hit a game-winning home run against Frankie Rodriguez a couple of years ago. He's never quite become the player that they had hoped.
It's all about the offense,
right.
And he's got all the tools. He's defense. He can play. He got a good arm. He can run. But the old adage in baseball is you can't steal first base.
Cracks this one to deep right field. Back goes Bird, and it's off the top of the fence. Bernardino heads for second, and he slides in safely with a double. He barely missed a home run.
I tell you what, I might want to have someone check that. Let's take another look. It just has to get above the orange stripe, right? The horizontal stripe.
I thought it hit the orange.
Let's see. Yep, didn't make it. That's 2 close ones that went against the Nationals here. Just.
Wow, that is awfully close. Davey Johnson's going to come out to talk to the first base umpire, Angel Hernandez, to request a replay. And Angel saying it hit the stripe, and Davey's saying maybe it hit the stripe and then went off the block. And the umpires will confer to decide whether they want to have a review.
Well, they've had 2. Look at this. Now, does it rebound off the black background above? I don't believe it does.
Well, that's what Davey is contending, but it does not look as though it did. It looked like it hit the orange solid and came right back off.
Yep.
Of course, Angel Hernandez is the umpire who had problems with a video review earlier this year, that they went to a video review and he still got it wrong. So I don't know whether that will affect whether this crew decides to look at a replay.
It's like an Ivan Lindo ground stroke.
And apparently they have decided that replay is not indicated. So the 4 umpires all felt as though they saw the same thing. And Davey Johnson will have to live with the result. So it's a double for Bernardino. The third hit off G.
The Nationals have been that close, that relay, twice to having a 2-run lead.
Right, LaRoche bounced one over the fence that, had it not gone over the wall, would have been a run in the first inning. Zimmerman had to go back to third, and G got through it. And now Bernardino inches from a home run. Kurt Suzuki dropped a base into the left field his first time up. 2 out, Bernardino at second, and Suzuki pulls one foul.
Well, Suzuki coming into the game hitting .211 has had a struggle. A little guy for a catcher. Got it from Oakland. Yeah, that's about shoulder width, your feet there. That's about how I had mine.
I see so many guys these days with much wider stances.
You see G pound his glove after that pitch. He got away with a hanging curveball right there.
The pitcher Jordan on deck.
It stayed up inside enough to crowd him. Oh boy, he could have got hurt.
It's kind of like that slider Scott Rice struck out Carlos Gonzalez on the other day.
Yeah, it backed up inside.
Now the 0-2 to Suzuki, and he lays off that slider.
Very good at nibbling ahead in the count. Met pitchers the last 2 nights. Starters, I should say. I like it. Got an 0-2 count. You do not have to throw a strike.
G with the 1-2. And it's lined to the left field for a base hit. Bernardina can fly. Young throws home. Buck will throw it down to second. Suzuki is tagged out, but the first run of the game comes home. Suzuki drives in Bernardina with an RBI single, and the Nats take a 1-0 lead. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Chrysler, imported from Detroit. 1-0 Nats as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Kurt Suzuki driving in the first run of the game.
Hanging, well, not really a hanging slider, but one that he got kind of sidearm on.
Young had no chance at the plate, but Buck does a nice job here.
Buck steps up and gets the throw. But Bernardina right now, Young has got to put it in his pocket. Everything came out smelling roses except for the run score. You are not gonna throw out Bernardina. Suzuki, it doesn't run well, doesn't take a hard turn. He was more concerned about getting that RBI, and he's thrown out by a mile. Buck stepping up beautifully. Look at that. Nicely done.
I mean, that's really shortening the distance.
Yeah, you go get the ball. Whenever even if you're a cutoff man, when the throw comes in, don't let the ball come to you. If you got to play at the plate, go get the ball. Go get it. 2 steps, 3 steps to run and get it, and then on the side of your body catch it and make the throw home or whatever base you need to throw.
So the Mets down by a run as they come to bat in the bottom of the 4th. Marlon Byrd will lead off against Taylor Jordan. In his first major league game, he's thrown 3 scoreless innings, given up just 1 hit, a walk, a strikeout. He hit Byrd with a pitch his first time up. The first pitch he threw to Byrd.
very impressive first 3 innings for this youngster. Very poised on the mound for a 24-year-old.
Especially when it began the year in the Carolina League. A rapid ascent to the big leagues.
Well, it's the second time through the order. The guys have seen him once. Let's see if Jordan alters his pitches or the Mets catch on.
Hit hard. Zimmerman can't field it cleanly, and Bird is on at first. Well, Zimmerman's fielding problems have been with his arm, not with his pickups. That'll be a fielding error on Ryan Zimmerman.
It's a tough error because this is a bullet, but an error nonetheless. I like to see he wasn't down from the beginning, Gary. Your corner infielders, when you're playing in like that, you've got to have that glove down almost to the ground. If he'd have had his glove down facing the batter on the ground, he would have made that play.
It's 57 errors now for the Nationals, the third most in the National League. That's been one of their issues. For Zimmerman, his 12th error of the year. Again, most of them have come on throws. Here's Josh Satin.
We're going to have another look at that, because I want to really just emphasize the point here. You're playing in. He's not even down in a crouch position. See how he didn't even get down. Now, when you're playing in like that, you can play like he made that play if you're playing way deep, another 10 feet back. But when you're in close like that in the corner infielder, you've got to be down in a crouch position.
Josh Satin takes the fastball just off the plate. Satin hit into a force play his first time up. Hit it down to Zimmerman at third. More on Satin. Let's check in with Kevin.
Josh Satin, guys, his whole career, when he was younger, people always told him, you know what you're doing with that batting stance? It's not going to work. All throughout college, minor leagues. And Josh said, you know what? Thing is, it always did work. So I just kind of stuck with it. But like a lot of guys, there was one sobering moment that made him come to the realization that he needed a change. That was last year. June the 5th was called up. Finally got in a game, got one at bat as a pinch hitter. He struck out, designated for assignment after the game. Josh said, you want a harsh reality? That was it. After that, I sat back and said, you know what? I'm a minor league player, and what I have is not working at the major league level. I need to change. I need to really evaluate what I'm doing. And he did just that with the help of George Greer, the hitting coach at AAA for the Mets. And he said, what I really looked at is my stance, which had a lot of moving parts and a lot of lunging, quite honestly. And I felt like the best part of my game has always been my eyes. In the minor leagues, with all those moving parts, sometimes that would kind of fall forward. But the thing was, I had good eyes. I could recognize a breaking ball. And in the minor leagues, breaking balls are rarely strikes. So I laid off. Here, though, breaking balls are strikes. And I needed a change. So with George Greer's help, simplified everything, widened his stance. Feels like he's in a much better place right now. And now, for the first time in his career, getting a chance to play. He's played this whole week and certainly feeling a little bit better than he did last June 5th, guys.
Well, in defense of Josh, he didn't get much of an opportunity to play up on this level, and it's difficult when you're a spot player coming up. But I do notice that he did lean over the plate if he swung and missed and kind of fell off balanced. And I see a lot of hitters doing that today, and you're not going to his ball four right there. Another thing that Josh can do well. He has a good eye at the plate. He draws walks. Mets in business here. Runners on first and second. Nobody out. So by widening the stance, yes, you're more stabilized. Keeps you from lunging more and leaning. But you don't want to do it too much. So, hey, it's hard to change a hitter. You had success. You hit in college, high school, little league, and all the way going up. And then you're going to have someone that's going to tell you got to do something different. It's hard to change. So it comes to a point in your career where you're like Josh, I'm not going to make it. I'll give it a try. But if you're successful in the minor leagues, I'm not going to change. You're going to go with the horse that got you there anyway.
Well, I was talking to Josh, and he said there was a moment earlier this week when he realized that what he was doing was working for him in a way that his old habits would not have. As Kirk Neuenhuis bats with two men on. He was facing Chris Sale, who's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Guy with 97, great breaking pitch, great changeup. And he said he was the bat. Remember he hit a hard grounder to short that knocked over Alexi Ramirez.
Yes.
He said that at bat I got to a pitch I never would have touched with my old batting style. And he said at that point it kind of justified it for him. Rendon, Desmond, and Neuenhuis able to beat the play to first.
Well, I'll tell you what, this was tailor-made right here. Ball hit hard. Rendon gets rid of it quickly. And Neuenhuis just couldn't fly, and he beats it here. Keeps the Mets in business. That's a play right there where you want your first baseman to cheat a little more.
Well, that's a big play. Instead of 2 out and a runner at third, the Mets have first and third and 1 out. A chance to at least get even.
Only just a half a step.
It's the stirrups. Here's John Buck. Takes outside. Not only is Buck wearing stirrups, but so is Neuenhuis today. That's a different look for Kirk.
I'm a stirrups guy, but that's too low. Those are ankle chokers. You got to get them up higher.
Yeah, nobody wears the high ones.
Oh. No, they never made them that way. They're always, you have to cut them on the inseam where they're sewed together underneath your foot, and then you get an elastic band underneath to give it a little stretch.
The Frank Robinson look.
And I never liked them high, but didn't like the ankle chokers.
Buck flying to right his first time up, trying to fight his way out of a big slump. And now Jordan behind him 2-0. So things going a little differently for Jordan in this inning.
Well, this is his first real test right here. The first inning, he had runners on first and second with 2 outs. He's in a jam here with 1 out, first and third.
Bird at third, Neuenhuis at first. And he's behind on Buck 2-0. John just 1 for his last 27. We're on the 29th of June, and Buck has only 1 RBI this month, and that's why no hits in his last 15 at bats with runners in scoring position.
Oh, it needs a ground ball here. Buck's a double play candidate. He's got a good changeup, Gary. He's thrown it basically down the middle, and it's got such sinking action. Just gets under the bat. And I read the scouting report on him, and it said the changeup was a work in progress. Not today.
He's made progress. Buck 6 out of 9, getting a runner home from third with less than 2 out. Needs to make contact. Fouls it off. Good fastball by Jordan, 2-2.
He's showing a lot of wherewithal to the young man out there, Taylor Jordan, holding Neuenhuis close, throwing over in this jam. Usually pitchers get so focused and they're in a jam. A young pitcher, they forget about the runners. They're so focused on getting the pitch, the sign, and throwing a strike.
Bird reached on an error. Neuenhuis on at first. Neuenhuis has 1 stolen base. Career numbers on Buck. Began his career in the Houston organization. Cut his teeth with the Royals, then Toronto, Miami. 2-2.
Hit hard, base hit. That'll get the tying run in. Bird comes in to score. So John Buck, just his 2nd RBI in the month of June, gets the Mets even at 1.
Well, tried to go with a changeup here, and watch how he gets it up. Didn't do anything, did it? Just that's what happens when you get around belt high on those sinker ball pitchers.
Well, that's going to feel good for Buck. The hits have been so hard to come by. The Mets take advantage of the Zimmerman error to play to run. And now Steve McCanny, the pitching coach, going out to the mound to talk to Jordan, who's only given up 2 hits this afternoon and now an unearned run. Omar Quintanilla will be coming up. Hey, to see I see you're stifling a yawn, yes, which actually is a perfect lead-in. The White Sox and Indians last night, that doubleheader they played.
The second game, tell me.
Well, the first game was 19-10. Second game was 9-8. But the combined game times, the longest doubleheader in Major League history, that was only 2 9-inning games. First game was 4:02. Second game was 3:51. There had never been a longer doubleheader involving 2 9-inning games in Major League history.
Wow.
And the White Sox lost them both. Despite scoring 18 runs, they lost both games. How about that? Here's Quintanilla. Neuenhuis, the go-ahead run at second now with 1 out. Omar going to come back for his first time up. 0 for his last 17. And he takes the strike. Dylan G on deck. Let's get their offense rolling a little bit. Second time through the batting order, after Jordan held them without a hit the first time through. Comes inside with the fastball, and it's 1-1. Quintanilla playing every day at short. The Mets don't even really have a backup for him. Ruben Tejada began his rehab assignment last night, playing down for the Gulf Coast League team in Florida. So he's begun the road back. The question is what happens when Ruben's ready to play. Terry Collins said definitively on Thursday that Ruben has got to earn his job back, that there's no reason to take Quintanilla out of the lineup the way he's played. So that is kind of thrown down the gauntlet for Mr. Tejada.
It's no guarantee for a recall, too. He could just wind up in Las Vegas.
Now the 2-1 from Jordan. Get off the end of the bat. Shallow left center. Who's going to get it? Nobody!
Bernardina hesitated coming in. Everybody kind of froze as that ball came off the end of the bat, and Quintanilla has a pop fly single to load the bases.
That snaps is 0 for 17.
Span got a very bad break on this. He broke back, you see, and it's too late. So, like a Phil Mickelson L wedge. So just hanging right there halfway. Neuenhuis can get back or advance.
Almost took too wide a turn here, and they threw behind him, but he got back. So now Dylan G bats with the bases loaded and 1 out.
And the Nats will play the corners, third base in only. Everybody else back. Call LaRoche at first base is kind of in nowhere's land. I mean, you're not going to be able to fill the squeeze. You're normally not going to squeeze with the bases loaded anyway. But you can go back. You got a slow runner and a pitcher. Play deeper. Cover more ground. Pitchers are more inclined to be late. Hit the ball the opposite field.
G has 2 RBIs this year, and he sets up to bunt. Not a suicide squeeze.
What was that all about?
Maybe just taking a pitch.
Well, Jason Worth is playing so shallow in right field. My goodness. Look at him over there.
Pitcher depth. Setting himself up for the 9-3 putout.
Yes, he is.
That's a long conversation.
I just think it's a little bit too shallow. I know he goes back well on a ball. I would just like to see, he comes in. It's easier to come in than go back. The ball gets over his head. It's 3 runs.
Neuenhuis, Buck, and Quintanilla the base runners. 2-0 to G with the bases full. And he swings and pops one up in foul ground. LaRoche is there for the second out. What do you think about that? Swinging 2-0 with the pitcher up?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, he and Tim Tuffle had a very long conversation, so it's not like he missed the sign. So now 2 out. The base is still loaded for Eric Young.
Young, a much better right-hand hitter than left-hand hitter.
He has taken advantage of the fact that the Mets have seen a ton of lefties lately, and they'll get 3 more the next 3 days. Gio Gonzalez tomorrow, Wade Miley of the Diamondbacks on Monday, and Patrick Corbin on Tuesday.
He's about a .250 hitter from the left side of the plate career, .290, almost .300 from the right side.
And even more pronounced this year. .338 right-handed, .218 left-handed. 0 for 2 today, batting left-handed. He's got a big spot here to try and give the Mets the lead. Bases loaded, 2 out. And Young grounds one down to LaRoche. So it took just 1 pitch for Jordan to get Young and get through the inning. Mets get an unearned run, but no more. John Buck, who had been struggling with runners in scoring position, delivers the first run of the day for the Mets. 1-1 after 4. Cable. Enjoy all the things you love better. Call 1-855-WANT-TWC. We go to the 5th inning. Mets have tied up the Nationals 1-1. These are the troubling innings for Dylan G. These 5th and 6th innings when he starts the 3rd time around the batting order. First he'll go after the pitcher Taylor Jordan, who did a nice job minimizing the damage in the last half inning. Jordan flied out to right in his first big league at bat. And he lines one up the middle for his first major league hit.
Now he's going to have 3 balls.
So far, it's been quite a day for Taylor Jordan. So he's already got the first pitch, the first strikeout, and now that ball goes out of play for his first hit.
Well, he's got his first pitch. He got his first strikeout, and now his first base hit. 3's a charm.
So the leadoff man on for the Nationals, the 5th hit off Dylan G. And now Denard Span, who has struck out and fouled out. We're talking about G in these 5th and 6th innings. His 5th inning ERA 8.53. His 6th inning ERA 9.45. Trying to avoid that kind of middle inning grief today. Denard Span drops down a bunt. They'll let it roll, and will it go foul? And finally it does.
Wow.
Just banked off that cut of the grass there and took a little bit of a left turn, and that's all it took.
That was a perfect bunt. Get out of the way, David. There you go. And as an infielder, once that ball gets in foul territory, grab it instantly, because it could hit a rut or a divot and get bounced right back in fair territory.
So Span back to the plate with an 0-1 count, and David Wright in even a little closer at third base this time. Get a change up by G, 0-2.
Well, G's got Span's number. Knock on wood. He's just not giving him any fastballs to hit. Span continues to chase bad changeups in the dirt.
Span had a double and a triple last night, but his numbers are off this year. His lifetime on base percentage, .357 in Minnesota. This year it's .310, and that's his job, getting on base. That's why the Nats got him, to give themselves a legit leadoff hitter. Grounds one down to first. Satin makes the play at first. The throw for the tag, and Jordan did not slide, and he's out.
Oh my goodness.
Pitcher's mistake. Rookie pitcher's mistake. Would have been safe with a slide, but he's tagged out for the double play.
Well, you always want to get those pitchers off the bases, and he hurts himself here. Just they're not used to being on base. Almost got hit in the head. He slides, he's safe. Oh my word.
So it's a 3-3-6 double play that negates Jordan's first big league hit. And
What's there to laugh about? It's a 1-1 ball game. What are you giving high fives for? Let's go. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say part of the issue is, because in the minor leagues the pitchers don't hit until they get to Double-A. Those guys just don't have any experience through the minor leagues running the bases or swinging the bat, for that matter.
Well, you've got a team, and I'll say it quickly, you've got a team that's been struggling all year. They're 1 over 500. A big win last night. Let's go. Get with the program.
Halfway through at Citi Field, tied at 1. Can you imagine how many people are in Central Park today doing various fun things on a beautiful Saturday? And New York Mets baseball is brought to you by your Tri-State BMW centers. Go ahead, Keith.
Pick spares no expense getting that helicopter to get this live shot for you.
It's an excellent point that you make. Reservoir looks very tempting today, doesn't it?
I used to run around that reservoir. There's the museum on the right. All the baseball diamonds that are left.
Softball
theater. Yep. That was my run when I lived in the city.
Daniel Murphy leads off the home 5th inning. Mets have had just 3 hits against Taylor Jordan in his major league debut. Murphy has one of the 3 single to center in the 3rd. David Wright on deck, Marlon Byrd behind him. Each team scored in the 4th inning. Mets getting an unearned run and leaving the bases loaded. And Murphy lines one into center field. Span comes on, but he can't make the catch. Kicks it forward, and Murphy is on with his 2nd hit of the day.
And I have a hunch that's going to get some activity in that National bullpen. It's another pitch that didn't sink up in the strike zone. We'll see if Davy Johnson is. I mean, this is a team that has been at 500 17 times this season. They're 1 over now, and they're 5 back from. Atlanta.
5.5.
5.5. Yeah, they're hanging around, and you don't want any of these games to get away. You want to kind of get some momentum here, get a streak.
Wright is walked and lined out to right, 0 for 1. Murphy at first and nobody out. Mets now with their 4th hit of the game. Let's check in with Kevin.
Doing the story, guys, last inning about Josh Satin, how he simplified things, widened his stance a little bit. And one of the things he told me is, you know who I watched, try to get some ideas a lot, was David Wright. I love how consistent he is, and I tried to get that. After the pitch, Keith, I wanted to ask what is consistent, what is simple about Wright's swing?
Well, when David sets up to go the other way, he's bought into it 100%, and he's very blind inside when he does that. But you know, David doesn't have an overly wide stance. That is very normal distance between. David's always best when he goes up the middle, stays disciplined, and just looks for that fastball. See the ball and hit it. It's, you know, you can think yourself into outs, and particularly in today's game with all the computers, Kev, and everything. So sometimes it's just best just to go back and say, I'm looking fastball and adjusting.
What about his movement at the plate, the take back? Fairly simple.
He's got to watch so he doesn't wrap the bat around his head on his take back. When David has his take back, the top of his bat can kind of go. And I had the same issue. It's Bill Robinson. I always told Bill Robinson the thing that I had to watch out for was when I did my take back, if my bat went over my head right here and it went over here, then it's a long swing. That's all I had Bill Robinson watch for me. And it's the same thing with David. He can get caught in that once in a while.
Try not to knock your headset off.
Well,
David is off his foot. I thought it was going to go fly when you were demonstrating.
Well, I thought I had a helmet on for, you know, I start talking about it. I feel like I'm back up at the plate again hitting. But it does make sense, though. If you get over here, it's a lot further for the. So when I was hitting, if it just went right to there, then I knew it. I can. Will they say that? Square it up.
But you get the occasional guy like a Gary Sheffield who can do that and still get the bat back around.
Yes, Bobby Bonds' father, Bobby Bonds Sr. Bobby Bonds, which was Barry Bonds' father. Excuse me.
Desmond charging and throws out right as Murphy moves to second, 1 away.
So watch the top of his bat. See how it gets in front. Now it's got a long way to come around. See, he gets jammed there. See?
So you're saying that's related, the fact that he points that bat back toward the pitcher and then has to get it around. Does that make you more likely to get jammed?
Well, you're going to get, when you got 2 strikes and you're going up the middle, you're going to be vulnerable inside. So you never be, number one, never be afraid to get jammed. Pitchers are out there making a living too. The pitcher's always trying to get you worried inside so they can get you away. So you just got to realize sometimes they're going to get you. But there's certain checkpoints you have in your swing. Very basic.
Right.
Everybody has their own checkpoints. It's like when I was trying to play golf, and then someone told me, you know, the professional golfers, they're not thinking about their take back. They're thinking about their shot. They're looking forward, not back. You know, when all the amateurs like myself, I'm worried about my hands and my take back, my golf swing. Pros, it's all automatic. they're focused on the shot in front, and the same thing with your swing. Your swing is you swung it your whole life. You don't even think it's second nature, but you can get into bad habits, and you got to stay out of bad habits. And where are you getting your bad habits? You get in your bad habits in batting practice, and that's where you really got to be disciplined in batting practice. You get guys hitting home runs in BP, they call them 5 o'clock hitters. They don't count.
Marlon Byrd has been hit by a pitch and reached on an error. He scored the only man run on a day that was supposed to be a day off for him, but hot enough that he's in the lineup again. Grounds it down to Zimmerman, and another boot for Zimmerman. Recovered by Desmond, but he can't make the play, and now Murphy trying to score. And the Mets take the lead. The Nationals kicking it around, and the Mets go in front 2-1.
Let's see if Zimmerman is in the same position as his last inning that cost a run. Is he down on the ball? We'll get to it. Nice recovery by Desmond. Hits Murph. There's going to be 2 errors on this play.
Yes, there are.
He did not get in front. The ball's hit hard. It's hard to get in front of the ball.
Zimmerman boots it for 1 error, and then Desmond's throw is a second error. So Murphy immediately breaking for the plate as that ball hit him and bounced away.
Well, nicely done by Murph. There you go. Okay. Good hustle. Good heads up. Tough day at the ball yard for Ryan Zimmerman.
So 3 errors for the Nats today. 2 charged to Zimmerman, now 1 to Desmond. And now runner in scoring position for Satin. So Murphy with the leadoff hit. Wright advances him with a slow ground ball, and a couple of errors bring him home. The Mets will take it. 2 runs against Taylor Jordan in his brief big league career, and they've both been the result of errors. Satin today has hit into a fielder's choice and drawn a walk 0 for 1.
Oh boy, I tell you what, the young rookie pitcher here, if he gets out of this one with 1 run, he's with the way this club's played behind him.
Nationals have their bullpen cranking now.
Well, let's see how he's deeper now, but he doesn't get down. And the hard hit, no, he's in. See the ball hit hard? You can't. You've got to be a little bit lower, more set when you're a corner infielder playing in. You can do it as if you're a shortstop and a second baseman. That's a gold glover right there.
No, not anymore. I mean, it's been a very, very troubled last couple of years at third base. But again, for Zimmerman, it's mostly been about the throwing problems.
Right. So there's no excuse for the fundies on fielding. Nice changeup. I tell you what, that is a fine pitch.
Greg Stammen, the long man in the Nationals bullpen, getting himself ready. Mets have taken their first lead of the day here in the 5th. 2-1 to Satin with Bird at second and 1 out. And that's wide, ball 3. Satin does not go out of the strike zone.
He's got a good eye at the plate. There's no question.
Came into the day with a .500 on base percentage as a result, and it stayed right there. And now he's got a hitter's count at 3-1 with Neuenhuis on deck. Satin bounces the sinker foul, and it's 3-2. Now Bird's been right in the middle of everything today. He's at 2 ground balls to Zimmerman, and Zimmerman's booted them both, leading to both Met runs. Zimmerman has had 1 3-error game in his career. That came in 2007. 3-2 to Satin. And Josh bloops one into shallow right center. It falls for a base hit. Bird had to hold up. He'll stop at third. So Satin gets aboard again, this time with a bloop single. He's now hit in 5 straight games, and the Mets have first and third and 1 out.
Well, tough break for Jordan here. really a blooper, but I tell you what, 2-strike hitting right here, tough sinker down and in, good hitting by Satin. Oh, I don't know what Marlin was stopped for.
You know, the same thing happened to Bird last night. Remember on the ball Satin hit to the right field corner for a double, and Bird held up a long time and was only able to go from second to third. Well, that's going to be all for Taylor Jordan in his first big league start, victimized by his defense and a little bit by his own base running. Call to the bullpen brought to you by your Tri-State BMW centers. Mets have taken a 2-1 lead in the fifth. We'll be right back to Citi Field. Now Taylor Jordan out of the game after making his major league debut and going 4 1/3. And he makes way for Craig Stammen, who has really found a home in that Nationals bullpen.
He certainly has. Remember, he started when he first came up. 38 starts for the Nationals.
Neuenhuis takes below the knees for ball 1. Kirk is 0 for 2. Flied out into a fielder's choice. Has an RBI chance here with first and third and 1 out. Mets have taken the lead in the 5th inning. Bird at third, Satin at first with only 1 away. And it's popped foul. That'll make it back into the seats. 1-1. Stammen's last outing was against Arizona on Thursday. He was the losing pitcher in the 11th inning, victimized by a squeeze bunt from the Diamondbacks' D.D. Gregorius. He's always been a guy who's been able to get ground balls, and he'd like to get one here from Neuenhuis, who, remember, beat the Rap on a double play his last time up. That helped set up a Mets run.
When an ISO on Zimmerman, watch his setup.
See his center field, Span toward right center, reaches down, and he makes the catch. Tagging at third is Bird. He comes in to score. Nice backhand catch on that sinking ball by Span, but it's a sacrifice fly for Neuenhuis, and the Mets now lead 3-1.
I tell you what, Span, they got him for defense in center field. This is a sinking line drive, a nice play. Nice backhand. I mean, he's a major league player, so it's all about getting to the ball. But nice hitting by Neuenhuis to get the run in.
6th RBI for Neuenhuis, so the Mets have scored twice here in the 5th. Satin still at first with 2 out for Buck, who drove in the first Met run. And it's lined, caught by Rendon, side retired. So a couple of well-hit balls by Neuenhuis and Buck. Stammen gets a couple of outs. But the Mets grab the lead. Marlon Bird eats up Ryan Zimmerman. And the Mets go in front 3-1 after 5 at Citi Field. Those nicknames, and Legrand Orange has won a plurality.
Yeah, I would think that would get my vote.
It's nice to see. Rusty number 1 and Kid number 2. Perfect. Painting the Corners is brought to you by Benjamin Moore for everything that matters.
Well, the changeup has been a big out pitch for him. And for Paint the Corners, notice how he's off the corners. And that's been what Dylan's been doing today, is getting ahead in the count and throwing that little bait pitch, the bait changeup, bait breaking ball off the plate, and the Nationals have been offering at it.
This is a key inning for Dylan G. Now having been given the lead, facing the heart of the batting order in the 6th, which has been a troubling inning for him. Ryan Zimmerman's made 2 errors today. And he lets his pitcher know that he gets it.
All 3 runs are on me. He drove in 3 last night.
He's drawn 2 walks today from G, and he takes the curveball off the plate 1-1. Well, the Nats now with 3 errors today, now up to 2nd in the major leagues in errors, which is not what they signed up for.
Nice change.
Zimmerman, LaRoche, and Worth for the Nationals in the 6th. Mentioned it last inning. G's 6th inning ERA this year, 9.45. 3rd time around the batting order. Had the blood clot last year. It took him a while for him to build up enough stamina to get through the middle of these games. He's had the forearm tendonitis this year that he's had to fight through. And before that last start in Philadelphia, it looked like he had really hit his stride. A 4-start span where he was 3-1, 1.53, had the 12 strikeout game against the Yankees.
Well, Philly has his number. You know, sometimes it works that way.
And this team most definitively does not. 3-2 to Zimmerman, and he walks him for a 3rd time.
Not good.
Those are the only 3 walks Dylan's allowed today. And so Zimmerman aboard to start the 6th right after G is handed the lead. So LaRoche comes to the plate as the tying run. LaRoche hit a ground rule double to right center back in the 1st. Then he flied out to left in the 3rd, 1 for 2. And the Mets will put on the full shift this time against LaRoche. That means Wright has to cover 2nd on a ground ball to the right side. Something David's handled very well when he's had to. He's got a little shortstop in his background. Even played a couple of innings at shortstop in the big leagues when the Mets had a need.
And remember, LaRoche, the first at bat, hit that ground rule double. First pitch fastball. Notice how G led him off with something off speed. Dillon knows that this is a difficult inning for him, and he's protecting a 2-run lead.
And he falls behind LaRoche 2-0. And those are the numbers we were talking about, those 5th and 6th innings that have been so troubling for Dillon this year. And Dan Worth is going to take a trip to the mound after a walk to Zimmerman and a 2-0 count to LaRoche. He needs to take G's temperature.
Well, this is a count right here that we see so many hitters today, 2-0, and they're looking for a breaking ball. You know what? This is a fastball count. If that pitcher wants to dip-de-doo you with the secondary stuff, you know what? When you're looking fastball, maybe not every hitter can do it. If they throw a high change over the middle, you can still hit it, adjust to it. A hanging to get me over curveball, you can still adjust to it. But boy, if you get that fastball, you're on it. Don't want to take a 2-0 fastball because you're looking for off-speed pitches. Nice shot there, the shift on the infield.
Big pitch for Dillon here on 2-0. And he gets him at the knees for a strike, 2-1.
Now, that was a fastball sinking low and away, a pitcher's pitch. If he's looking for something to drive, then that's a pitch you lay off.
Jason Worth waiting on deck. 2-1 now to LaRoche. And that's inside. 3-1.
Now, LaRoche should know that he's a power hitter, pull hitter. Obviously, the Mets feel that way with that defensive setup on the infield. But G's going to run a little sinker up there and try to get him to roll it over. And this might be a time when you might want to look away and use that left center field gap.
And LaRoche grounds one down to Satin. Out at first. Now they've got Zimmerman in the rundown. And Satin puts the tag on. Double play. Three, 2 out and nobody on.
Boy, same kind of double play back as the last inning. Gets G out of the inning.
And with Wright playing near the bag in the shift, he makes the relay back to first as Zimmerman tried to slam on the brakes and get back to no avail.
Well, you still want to try to pull the ball with that shift. It's like trying to hammer a circle through a square. Good luck.
So here's Worth, who's been up twice and struck out both times. And G pours over the fastball for a strike. Dillon trying to beat the Nationals for the 3rd time this year. Carlos Torres starting to get loose in the Mets bullpen. And the curveball in for a strike, and it's 0-2 to Worth. Worth has had 6 at bats in this series. He had a double last night. The other 5 at bats he struck out, including twice today. Now the 0-2. And it misses high.
Nope. We've seen it twice now, and that's why they call it a pitcher's best friend, a double play. Twin killing and get you out of a jam.
Both of them started by Josh Satin. One-two to Worth. Hit sharply, base hit. So Worth has his 2nd hit in this series, a 2-out single, the 6th hit of the afternoon against Dillon G. So he's not through the 6th inning yet.
Another hanging breaking ball right there, and he's starting to drop that arm, and that breaking ball starting to flatten out. I'm sure they're very much aware and watching very diligently from the bench.
So the very hot Ian Desmond comes to the plate as the tying run. Desmond hit a tying home run yesterday against Matt Harvey. First that Matt had given up in more than a month. Desmond 5 home runs in his last 9 games and 14 for the year. He pops one foul and out of play, 0-1. Desmond has a couple of home runs in his career against G, 5 for 22.
Slider. Oh, it's starting to hang it.
Not where he wanted it at all. And he's been unhappy with himself several occasions. Mostly it's been about that slider today where he's been kicking himself.
Remember last night off Harvey, Desmond hit the home run off of a curveball. There's a fastball away, a curveball that stayed inside and down.
And Desmond cracks it to right, but right there is Marlon Byrd, side retired. So G gets through his troubling 6th inning. Double play helps him out. 3-1 New York in the 6th. Double play in the 6th, 85 pitches deep, and he might be done for the day.
They had a lengthy conversation, Warthen and Collins, in between innings. Very lengthy. This is the tail end of it.
Well, G is due up 2nd in the inning, and he's not putting a helmet on.
I just think we spotted up here him dropping his arm and the curveball. Maybe they feel he's done.
Keith, I just don't think he's 100%.
Okay.
And I think that they're trying to protect him. They gave him the extra couple of days coming into this start, which he's had on a couple of occasions and is needed. He's battling that forearm tendonitis that's bothered him all year, and I think they're trying to keep him healthy for the long run. Omar Quintanilla leading off in the home 6th, and he drives one to right center field. Back goes Worth to the warning track near the wall. It's off the fence. Quintanilla to 2nd. He pulls in there with a leadoff double. So Quintanilla, who broke an 0 for 17 with a bloop single, has himself a 2-base hit to start the home 6th.
Oh, Quintanilla's got some pop. He's got 2 home runs this year, both to right field. That's the big ballpark. He likes that ball down and in. Now this is a situation, Gary, if you don't want to waste a bench man, you could stay with your pitcher,
leave
G, and let G bunt.
Yep.
And then you're not wasting a bench guy.
Well, instead, Andrew Brown will be the pinch hitter, batting for G. So G is out after 6 innings, allowed a run on 6 hits. Let me just add one more thing to what we were talking about with G. I asked Terry Collins today, I said, can you foresee a time sometime this season where you sit G down for a couple of weeks, just put him on the DL to try and clear up that that tendonitis issue once and for all? He said absolutely. That could definitely happen at some point this year. They're trying to avoid it as Andrew Brown takes a shot at the masked man.
Well, it'll all depend on, it could go away, and you don't have to have it. Give him a couple weeks off.
That's a double shot, a double mask shot.
No, it's one of the few reasons I'm glad I was left-handed. No one would ever try to put the catching gear on me.
Dale Long, Mike Squires, Benny DiStefano, they were all left-handed.
Oh yeah, over 100 and how many years of baseball?
I mean, if you'd really wanted to, they would have put a mask on you. There are left-handed catcher's gloves around. Brown fouls it off, and it's 0-2. Andrew Brown showed nice power in his limited at bats. Eric Young on deck. Brown 1 for 5 as a pinch hitter. He's had just 26 at bats with 3 home runs.
And another thing too, another consideration is that this bullpen has been so good. On last night they had a little hiccup, but the bullpen's been solid of late. Very reliable.
Stammen throws the slider out of the strike zone. 1-2. Greg Stammen came on to get the final 2 outs in the 5th, but both were hard hit balls, and Quintanilla following with 1 halfway up the fence. So Stammen has not exactly been fooling them since coming in. After Taylor Jordan went 4 1/3 in his debut, 3 runs, only 1 earned on 5 hits for Jordan. Brown fouls off the breaking ball. Andrew Brown, who grew up in Texas, a baseball player in a football state, played his college baseball at the University of Nebraska.
Cornhuskers.
Grounded foul. And Brown hangs in there. Quintanilla at second with nobody out. And Brown swings and misses. Quintanilla will take third as Suzuki makes the play to first to complete the putout. So aggressive base running by Quintanilla, taking off as that pitch hit the dirt.
Excellent base running by Quintanilla. This is just being alert. It's like a wild pitch. Very good heads up. It's going to force the Nationals to bring the infield in.
So it's a strikeout, a wild pitch charge to Stammen, moving Quintanilla to third. And now Eric Young will try and get the run in.
And you could have a possible squeeze here.
Got the right guy for it. So we'll see whether David Johnson pitches out during this at bat to try to negate it. Young is 0 for 3 today. Comebacker, a fly ball to center and a grounder at first. All speed pitch, 1-0. Perfect count for a squeeze bunt.
Oh, good curve.
Swings and misses at the curve, 1-1.
Just got enough down break. Watch it get under the bat. Not a very good swing on that one.
The thing I'll say about Terry Collins is he's not a big proponent of the squeeze bunt.
No.
He feels as though too many things can go wrong. But if you're going to run it, this is the right guy to run it.
Yes.
This is a very, very good bunt.
Correct. And you got a good speedster on third base, too. And just a bit surprised where Zimmerman's playing. He's got to be in a little closer, does he not? At third base? I mean, if it's a squeeze, got to be a little tighter. You're never going to catch up to Quintanilla on a squeeze.
And now Stammen behind on Young, 3-1, with Daniel Murphy waiting on deck.
And no one up in the National bullpen. No left-hander for Murph.
They've got two quality lefties now in that Washington bullpen with Fernando Abad and Ian Kroll.
He just doesn't get down, does he? Just does not get down.
Full count to Young. Eric playing his 10th game as a Met. Become a fixture in that leadoff spot. He's driven in 6 runs in his first 9 games, and he's got one there to be driven in right now. Trying to expand on a 3-1 lead in the 6th. Stammen ready for the 3-2. And Young fouls back the fastball.
Well, let's see if he's got enough guts to drop a little hammer on him here. Down and in. It's like a blind spot in Young's swing from the left side. You go walk him, you got a potential stolen base threat. It's really going to create a lot of problems. You're just going to go with old reliable, the old sinker away.
Seventh pitch of the at-bat, I'm coming to Eric Young. And he fouls off another fastball.
Those are all good pitches to hit right there. From 3 in a row, nice to hit. Oh, it just makes me want to get in the batter's box. That's an easy RBI.
See if he changes the program here.
There's the slider.
Fly ball, shallow right center. Knifing in his Span, tagging Quintanilla. He's going to try it. Here comes the throw by Span, not in time. Span with the weakest arm in that Washington outfield, and the Mets take advantage. Eric Young with the sacrifice fly gets Quintanilla home to make it 4-1 New York.
Well, had a 33% chance of hitting it to the right arm, and they did. Because there's the 2 corner outfielders have strong arms. And that would not have got it done if it was a hit to left field or right, to either Worth or Bernardino. So well placed.
So the Mets scratch out a run, a leadoff double by Quintanilla. And he comes around to score on Young's sacrifice fly. Now the Mets have a 3-run lead. Here's Daniel Murphy, who's 2 for 3 today. And he takes lone inside from Stammen. Well, 4-1, going to the bullpen. This is where the Mets were last night. Of course, that was going to the 8th. This will be going to the 7th. Dylan G turning in the 6 solid innings today. Curveball lined into right center, a base hit for Murphy, and that'll go a long way, all the way to the wall. Murphy has to be thinking 3. Takes the turn at second, and he's on his way for a triple. Second triple of the year for Daniel Murphy. His 3rd hit of the afternoon.
Very nice compact swing right there by Murph. Oh, hanging slider, jump all over it. Yes, sir. Hustling out of the box. Big ballpark. This is a triple stadium.
Maybe not quite like it was before they moved in that fence in right center, but still, you hit a ball in the gap there, you got a pretty good chance at 3 bases.
I always felt when Jose Reyes was here in this ballpark, and he was here when it was a big ballpark, that Jose could hit 20 triples here, but it didn't happen.
So Murphy at 3rd with 2 out. Now David Wright, who's 0 for 2 in a walk. grounds one foul down to Tim Tuffle. Two hands. Tuff's been the master of the two-handed grab. No more unearned runs. And David gets to him. 1-1. Marlon Byrd waits on deck. Mets with a run in the fourth, two in the fifth, and they've added one here in the sixth.
And Lane is hit by the pitch.
That got him in the elbow.
Ray Ramirez, the trainer, immediately out of the dugout to make sure David's okay. And he nods his head and says, "I'm fine."
Well, they're going to pitch Dave in, and you know what? When you're pitching in and you're going up the middle, you're going to get hit sometimes. Oh, I got him in the tricep. It's better than the elbow. The elbow could be a problem.
A little more meat there.
That's all meat. And have a little bruise. May have a Bud Selig on his arm tomorrow.
Stavitt was hoping it hit the back. It was a fair ball, but no such luck for the pitcher. So David able to smile about it. On base for the second time today. And an RBI chance for Marlon Byrd.
That's the second hit by pitch. Byrd was hit by a pitch in the first at bat.
That was by Taylor Jordan, the starter. Now Bird's had an entertaining day. Hit by a pitch and twice reached on errors. Both times by Ryan Zimmerman. And he has scored 2 runs. Murphy at third, right now at first with 2 out. And Byrd hits a rocket down the line, but foul. Boy, he's hit some balls hard this month.
Marlon's very, very quick inside. Still got a very fast bat.
Fernando Abad, the left-hander, now getting ready. Stamina has fooled few in his inning in the third. There goes Wright, and Byrd lines one on the left for a base hit. Murphy's in to score. Wright goes to third. Marlon Byrd with an RBI single, and it's 5-1 New York. Behind in the count 0-2. And Byrd delivers his 40th run batted into the season, just one behind David Wright for the club lead.
Slider down and away. Good pitch. And I tell you what, it's good hitting. Sometimes you just got to tip your hat.
Well, that's why Terry Collins kept him in the lineup today on what was supposed to be a day off for Marlon.
And who would have thought you'd get, now it's a, you know, we're how close to the halfway point now? 81 games?
5 more games.
So he gets 5 RBIs. Would get 90 RBIs out of Marlon. Starting in camp, there's Davey right there. It's just his team has given away 3 runs here. Played very poorly today.
Steve McCaddy at the mound talking to Stamina. We'll get one more batter with Josh Satin coming up. Satin's been on base 2 more times today with a walk and a bloop single. 1 for 2. That's now with 5 runs and 8 hits. They've played it a pair here in the 6th. Well, this 5-run plateau has been where the Mets have topped out at home over the last 2 months. Could they get to 6 for the first time since April?
Well, they're going to also have 2 more if they stay ahead. 2 more cracks at it too.
No time like the present.
Got ducks in the pond, Garrett.
First and third and 2 out for Satin. And Josh takes inside, ball 1. This inning began with Quintanilla doubling off the fence in right center. Took third on a wild pitch, scored on a sacrifice fly. Murphy restarted it with a 2-out triple. Wright was hit by a pitch, and Byrd delivering an RBI hit.
Can I say one thing too? Is this a much more enjoyable team to watch play? The Mets, this group they have out here right now, it's much more crisp baseball, taking extra bases. It's been fun to watch.
Well, it's a different team. You had those two big left-handed sluggers in Duda and Davis, slow-footed guys who were not having particularly great years. Duda doing better than Davis, but you know, it's a different kind of team now. It's more of a contact and speed team.
Yep.
And certainly, you know, Young exemplifies the speed. Satin exemplifies the contact. It's a different kind of group. That's a 4 for 10 with runners in scoring position today. Two balls and a strike to Satin.
Well, Stanman is just not able to get that inside strike, which is his bread and butter. As you look at Neuenhuis in the on-deck circle, he's a sinker ball pitcher, needs to pitch inside to right-handers. The high Sox must look like tights.
You know, it's a thing that's happened now. More guys going with the high Sox with the day games. And David Wright has done it his whole career. But he's had other guys following suit, and on the other side, Stammen doing the same.
I just don't like the not having the stirrups. I like the white sanitaries.
I don't like the soccer socks. There's a strike to Satin, 2-2.
That's right. This is America, not Europe.
Well, they play soccer here.
Well, secondary.
No soccer for that man. No football. Two and two to Satin. And Josh grounds one.
Oh, nice diving stop by Zimmerman. Can he throw him out?
Oh,
he does. Well, Zimmerman has had a very rough afternoon in the field with a couple of errors. This time takes a double away from Josh Satin to end the inning. That's more like the Gold Glove Ryan Zimmerman. And help from a LaRoche at the other end. 5-1 New York. News, more weather, more fun. The Pix 11 Morning News starting at 4 a.m. Carlos Torres comes on to pitch for the Mets as we go to the 7th.
Well, for Carlos, his 6th game, his first appearance was against the Cubs here at Citi Field back on June 16th. He's been pitching pretty outstanding. He's a good guy for the middle of a ball game. 30-year-old veteran.
Had the one bad moment in Philadelphia when he gave up the walk-off home run to Kevin Franzen, who he was at one time college teammates with. But other than that, he's pitched very well last time out against the White Sox on Tuesday. Pitched a scoreless inning in 2/3. They'll face the lower third of the order here in the top of the 7th. Mets with a 5-1 lead. Roger Bernardina, Kurt Suzuki, and then the pitcher's spot for the Nationals. Dylan G went 6, allowed a run on 6 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, pulled after 85 pitches. And now Torres leading the bullpen, trying to bounce back from yesterday's bullpen debacle. Bernardina 1 for 2. He drilled a double that just barely missed being a home run in the 4th. It hit off the orange line about an inch or 2 from a home run.
Well, you can
He takes a fastball strike.
You see down in Las Vegas in AAA, they started Torres, so 12 starts. So he's someone that can go middle of the game, give you 3-4 innings of relief. Classic middle reliever.
He's already gone as far as 2 1/3 out of the bullpen for the Mets. Got a natural cutter and a curveball. Curveball's gotten better. Two and 1 to Bernardina with Kurt Suzuki waiting on deck. Nationals 1 run 6 hits. The Mets 5 runs and 8 hits. And Bernardina waves at the cutter. 2-2.
Threw that one right by him. That was a high fastball.
Over the mound, but Quintanilla has him played toward the middle. And he throws out the speedy Bernardino, 1 away.
Well, the one thing I've noticed in these first 2 games in this series on both clubs, both teams, they run hard to first base on everything. No one's lollygagging. Bernardino busted down the line there. Davies a stickler on that. I'm sure Terry is too.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Torres faces Kurt Suzuki, who's 2 for 2 today. Suzuki drove in a run with a base hit in the 4th inning. The only run scored against Dylan G. Steve Lombardozzi has come out on deck to be a pinch hitter for the Nats. Now the Nationals went into the series with a 6-man bench, but they made 2 moves today, bringing up the starting pitcher Taylor Jordan and a relief pitcher Eric Davis, and they sent down 2 bench players. So now instead of having a long bench, they've got a short bench.
Overnight.
They sent out Chris Marrero and Jeff Coburnis. So they've got only 4 men on the bench, including Lombardozzi, who's ready to pinch hit. Roster management. 1-1. Ties him up inside, and Suzuki held. 2-1. Carlos Torres, who started his college career at San Jose State, finished at Kansas State. It's 2 remarkably different environments. 3-1 to Suzuki. San Jose to Manhattan, Kansas.
When I was a kid growing up, San Jose was a little small agricultural city at the southern tip of the San Francisco Bay, 45 miles south of San Francisco. Today it's grown so much.
Ripped toward the left field corner off the bat of Suzuki, and he has his 3rd hit of the day. So Suzuki, who was in a dreadful batting slump, has had a 3 for 3 afternoon, 2 singles, and now a ringing double. Tenth double of the year for Kurt Suzuki.
High fastball out over the plate.
So the 7th hit for the Nats, and now Lombardozzi will pinch hit. Came up as a pinch hitter yesterday against Matt Harvey and struck out. Lombardozzi, who can play second base or in the outfield, and has Been a good player for the Nats these last 2 years.
One of the favorites of Davy Johnson. He was not penciled in to make the ball club last year out of spring training with this Nationals team, and Davy just had a good spring, and Davy loved him.
Of course, his dad played in the big leagues. Steve Lombardozzi with the World Championship Twins. One and one to Lombardozzi with Denard and Span waiting on deck. This is the only game going on in Major League Baseball. Saturday afternoon.
Really?
Beautiful day in late June. A lot of teams are now playing 4 o'clock games on Saturdays.
Now, a lot of times Fox has priority,
but they have the evening window. They've got the 7 o'clock window. Look at that. The scoreboard's empty. Arizona and Atlanta playing at 4. In Atlanta, there's a strike, 2-2. I like this better. 1 o'clock games.
What?
1 o'clock.
Oh, sure. Baseball is a day game. It's the best for the fan. Not so much for the player today, because of the night game is tough.
Line caught by Wright, 2 out. And Suzuki easily back to second. David in just the right spot to pick off that liner by Lombardozzi for the second out.
I always love day games. You know why I love day games? Because number one, you got to have a meal with like everybody else in society. You know,
civilians.
Yes, you got to have a meal at 7, 8 o'clock. It was nice to have the night off. You play so many day games.
The question is, after the Friday night game and the Saturday afternoon game, can you have dinner without falling asleep in your soup?
You'd be surprised.
Here's Denard Span, who's 0 for 3. And the curveball from Torres misses, ball 1. Span's had a rough day. Struck out in the first, fouled out in the third, and then grounded into a double play in the 5th. Made one nice catch in center field, but a couple of others he was unable to play. From Torres, and Span takes a fastball strike. Let's check in with Kevin.
All those years, guys, in the Twins organization, and he said, you know, coming to the National League, it's like your slate, all those notes you had, just completely wiped clean. He said, I'm still kind of getting adjusted a little bit. The reason being, even coming up through the organization, you get to know what other teams like to do, the organizational philosophy, and you just kind of have that as a memory base. Here, still kind of filling out that notepad, trying to gain notes about pitchers, teams, how they try to pitch me now.
And it's been a struggle for him. Noted earlier his on-base percentage more than 40 points down from his career average.
Well, his first 13 games with the Nationals, he had .313 with an on-base percentage of .421, and then after that he was hitting them in the 240s, and his on-base percentage plunged below 300. So it's an adjustment year when you change leagues.
Keith, what's the biggest thing when you're going through the league like this and seeing pitches for the first time instead of just watching video? What is the biggest issue? Is it just seeing it real speed?
Oh, well, I went over to the American League with Cleveland that last year. Now, I was finished, and you don't know anybody. So, but you know what? The way to look at it is when you were a rookie coming up, you didn't know anybody. You know, but then you didn't have the experience, so you can kind of think yourself into more difficulty. I just think you just got to see the look fastball, see the ball, and hit it when you don't know the pitchers. Kevin, I didn't feel comfortable in any of the World Series I played in. As Dan Warthen's going to come to the mound here and have a chat with Torres. You know, when you're in a World Series too, you're facing the very best of the other league, and it's the very, you know, when you got Clemens, Hurst, Vukovic with Milwaukee, Mike Caldwell.
Don Sutton pitched for that Milwaukee team. You're facing the very best, so it's more difficult in the World Series. I never felt comfortable, and I went 0 for 15 in that '82 World Series in Milwaukee, and I was thinking I was going to be the next Gil Hodges here, and I finally just said, you know what, I'm going to see the ball and hit it and forget about it and stop thinking. And the fourth game, I went 0 for 4, but I hit 3 line drives. And the next three games, I was 7 for 11 with 8 RBI. So I salvaged my World Series. But I tell you what, I was on the ropes. So it was like I had a left hook from Joe Louis.
Here's Anthony Rendon. After the walk to Span, he takes a strike. But we're going to say the next Dave Winfield.
Oh, well, I'm not. You're more contemporary than me.
I just remember Winfield went 0 for 21, 0 for 22 to start.
And he asked for the ball.
He got the ball.
Oh my God! And they were losing. They were getting in the process of getting swept. Was that the case? Were they getting swept in that series by the Dodgers? I forget. Not sure.
Did the Yankees win the first 2 games? And
okay.
The Dodgers won the last 4.
That's right.
81.
That's right.
But that was just the year before you had your 0 for 15 to start the World Series for the Cardinals.
Yes. Let me tell you, I was worried. I was shaking in my boots.
That all worked out.
It did.
1-2 to Rendon. Fouls off that cutter. Rendon 0 for 3 today, 0 for 6 in this series. It came in a red hot hitter.
Well, this is the big out right here. Obviously, you want to take it into the 8th, 5-1.
Torres trying to bounce back from that walk to Span, which I'm sure was troubling. That's why Warrington went to visit him. 1-2 to Rendon. Chopper hit to third, charging his right at the barehand play, and he got him.
Outstanding play by David Wright. The do-or-die barehand, and he throws out Rendon to get Torres through the inning.
Nobody makes that play better than David Wright.
You're right.
7th inning stretch, 5-1 New York.
No surprises.
Driving, it's not worth building. David Wright.
No. Remember when David came up, folks? Sandy, all those days of working with Sandy Alomar Sr., if you recall, Tim Tuffle taking the baton from Sandy, and David is really we felt last year was a Gold Glover at third base. Didn't get it, but no one is better than David.
Steve Lombardozzi stays in the game at second base, and the new pitcher Fernando Abad will bat in the number 2 spot of the batting order.
Well, Abad from the pitch with the Astros, he's off to a great start here. He's always been a guy that has a good sinker. Controls are his issue. You never know. You make a trade, a guy's got a good arm, he may find himself. Well, so far he's been pitching great for this team.
Began the year in the minor leagues. They called him up a little over a month ago. Remember the Nationals last year had 3 lefties in their bullpen, and they basically allowed them all to walk away. They had Zach Duke when the year began as the only lefty out of their bullpen, but that did not work out. And so Abad has come up, and Ian Kroll has come up, and that gives them more of a presence from the left side.
And Gorzolani, who was a spot starter for them in middle relief, they had a great year. Who was the other guy?
Sean Burnett.
Sean Burnett, the tall drink of water. Did he not hurt his arm?
He's hurt, but you know, there was a lot of disagreement in the Nationals organization as to whether to bring Burnett back. Neuenhuis pops one in foul ground. That'll go out of play.
Well, the bottom line was it's about dollars.
Well, and I think also, you know, and I think a lot of organizations look at it this way. It's so hard to predict performance from relief pitchers. Sometimes you just throw a lot of stuff against the wall and see what sticks. You know, look what the Mets have done with David Aardsma, a guy who's had some success in the past, and they took a flyer on him after the Marlins let him go, and he's been a big part of their bullpen now for the last couple of weeks. So it's one of the hardest things to do when you build a team, and that is to predict bullpen performance. I don't think anybody knows that better than the Mets. They've had such a struggle the last few years building a bullpen. Fernando Abad, 27 years old. He's had parts of 3 years with Houston before signing on with the Nationals. 2-2 to Neuenhuis, and he waits that one away. Neuenhuis had a sacrifice fly in the 5th inning. That got the 3rd Mets run home. That scored a run in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th. After the Nats took a 1-0 lead. Fly ball center field, and Span has it lined up. 1 out. So Neuenhuis retired. Now John Buck, who had himself an RBI single in the 4th inning for the Mets' first run of the day.
Was that his 2nd RBI of the month?
2nd RBI in June.
I hate to bring up the negative there, but it's striking.
Well, he has lived off his April for a long time. He has 37 runs batted in, which puts him only 4 off the club lead.
Had what, 25 in April?
25 in April. Amazing start for Buck. Gets this one out to right field, chasing Worth back toward the corner, but he'll get there, and that's the 2nd out. So a couple of fly ball outs for Abad to start the home 7th inning. And now Omar Quintanilla. But it's cap day, and those caps look just terrific on those young ladies. Fans are true to the orange and blue.
Yeah, they are. The ones here today, absolutely. And the ones listening to us.
You're wearing a little orange and blue yourself, I just noticed.
Oh, my glasses.
Yeah. That's quite stylish.
Thank you.
Omar Quintanilla is 2 for 3, a bloop single, and then a double off the fence in right center. He scored a run today. You picked those out yourself?
Yes, I did. I like colors. In my reading glasses, Gary's talking about, folks. I like colors, so.
You know that from looking at your scorecard.
Well, remember the last ones I had had diamonds on. I didn't see them. That was not good.
Worth is there to catch the fly ball from Quintanilla. A 3 fly ball outs of the inning. And we head to the 8th at Citi Field on Cap Day. 5-1 New York. Keep rolling on with the impressive fuel economy of Chevy Cruze. Find yours at ChevyOffers.com. There's your line score. It's a beautiful graphic, don't you think? Got the orange and blue there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very nice.
Matches your reading glasses.
And the arrows too.
That's with a 5-1 lead as we go to the 8th. Part of the batting order coming up for the Nationals in the 8th inning against Carlos Torres, who threw 25 pitches to get through the 7th inning. Gave up a double and a walk, but got through it. Well, Zimmerman, 3 plate appearances today, 3 walks against Dylan G. The only 3 walks that G gave up in his 6 innings of work. Do you know that the major league record for walks in a 9-inning game is 6? Can you imagine 6 walks in a 9-inning game?
And the most?
For a hitter.
Oh, for a hitter. Gee, I wasn't paying attention.
Jimmy Fox walked 6 times.
Oh, he could hit though, huh? He could hit.
You know, it was Jimmy Fox who was the model for the Tom Hanks character in A League of Their Own.
Correct.
Was known to imbibe a few.
Oh, well, so how about Big Poison out there? I said they used, well, I won't say it on the air. I'm sorry.
Did Paul Wainer you're talking about?
Yeah. They were tipsy too.
Both brothers or just
I don't know. All I know is I have my old Joe DiMaggio league coach was from Pittsburgh.
Strike 3 called. Zimmerman caught looking. First strikeout for Torres, 1 away in the 8th.
Well, Torres going in his 2nd inning of work. Gets him a little cutter. I think a fastball surprised him away. Got him upstairs and away, outside corner. Well, plenty of plate. But he went to a lot of games at Old Forbes Field, and he saw the Weiner brothers. And whoever played center field kept a half pint behind the fence.
So he liked to go back on fly
told
balls.
He was a little kid. He'd sit in the bleachers, and Weiner would sneak behind the fence and take a snort. He's in the Hall of Fame now. One of the great players.
And we thought Manny Ramirez was the only guy who did things he shouldn't behind the fence.
I know it's Sunday and kids are watching, but you know, it is what it is.
Adam LaRoche is 1 for 3 today, doubled back in the 1st inning. By the way, it's Saturday.
Oh. What did I say?
I think he said it was Sunday.
Oh, see?
Sunday's tomorrow.
That's what day games do.
Yeah, you made that point earlier. Here's the 2-0 to LaRoche, and he rips one down the right field line, a foul ball. 2-1. Speaking of Pittsburgh,
Yes.
you know that the Pittsburgh Pirates have the best record in the major leagues?
Was not aware of that. I know they've been playing great.
Won their 7th straight last night to go a game in front of the Cardinals in the NL Central.
How about that?
49-30.
Clint Hurdle's found a home, huh?
Their young right-hander Garrett Cole, despite giving up 3 runs in the first inning last night, got the win. Cole has now made 4 starts in the majors.
4-0, right?
4-0, the first Pirate to win his first 4 starts in the majors since Nick Maddox in 1907.
Really?
106 years ago. So things are going right for the Pirates. But then again, they went right for them this time of year last year. Swing and a miss, and Torres takes care of LaRoche. Back-to-back strikeouts for Carlos Torres. 2 out of the 8th.
And a little natural cutter on the outer part of the plate, swung right through it.
I mean, last year at this time, the Pirates looked like a lock to break that 20-year drought of winning seasons. But then they collapsed the last 6 weeks of the season and finished under 500 again. Looking for their first winning year since 1992. Here's Jason Worth, who's 1 for 3.
Well, Alvarez has 19 home runs.
And McCutcheon's been great. Their pitching has been fabulous. You got the 2 guys at the end of the game in Melanson and Grilli, who have been complete shutdown artists this year.
And the Mets will be traveling on the next road trip. That'll be the last stop before the All-Star break. 3 in Pittsburgh. We get to walk to the ballpark. Yeah, I'm on that trip.
Milwaukee, San Francisco, Pittsburgh. You're doing the whole
Yeah,
trip.
then I got the next homestand. I got 4 the 6th the next homestand, and then I've got that's after the break, right? Then I have a week off. Sorry.
But your long vacation is over.
I got my mid-season break. I understand some people were very upset on Facebook, and
They were just wondering where you were, whether you were still employed.
just want to let them know that I don't make the schedule. Send your complaints to Kurt Gowdy at SNY.
People think you should do every game. Here's the 1-2 from Torres, and he gets them. Torres strikes out the side against the heart of the Nationals batting order in the 8th inning. Nicely done by Torres. 5-1 New York. This tour of Citi Field is brought to you by Hyundai's 4th of July sales event. Citi Field on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. You could not ask for better. With all the rainy weather that has run through here and might be on the horizon today, a perfect afternoon for a ball game out on the party deck. Out on the Shea Bridge. All-Star game coming in a couple of weeks. Juan Lagares pinch hitting for the Mets as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Lagares has been playing every day in center field. Went 1 for 3 last night. Average at .232. As he continues to get acclimated offensively. The defense never in question. And Abad gets ahead of him 0-2. Eric Young on deck, then Daniel Murphy for the Mets in the 8th. Nationals 1 run, 7 hits. Mets 5 runs and 8 hits. And Lagares out on 3 pitches. So Abad has retired all 4 batters to face him. 1 out at the bottom of the 8th.
Just got beat by a fastball.
Did you see the box score last night from the Phillies-Dodgers game?
No, I did not.
Phillies won it 16-1. The most lopsided loss for the Dodgers since they moved to Los Angeles in 1958.
Really?
The only Dodger pitcher who didn't give up a run was Skip Schumacher. He pitched for the 2nd time this year. Hit hard by Young up the middle of base hit. He is just a different hitter from the right side of the plate. 0 for 3 and a sacrifice fly, batting left-handed today. Gets his first right-handed at bat, and he attacks against Abad.
Very much sitting on his back foot. And doesn't really transfer his weight that much forward. Kind of stays back.
So Young extends a hitting streak to 8 games with that 1-out single. And now Daniel Murphy's in a big afternoon. 3 for 4, 2 singles and a triple.
Did you see where Terry Collins managed his 400th game as a Met manager last night? Which is his 400th game.
I did. The 3rd different team that Terry has managed at least 400 games for. Only 2 other active managers have managed that many games for 3 different teams.
Buck Showalter, 4 with the Yankees, Diamondbacks, Rangers, and Orioles now, of course. And Dusty Baker, Giants, Cubs, Reds.
So I know Davey Johnson has managed 4 teams, but he didn't get to 400 games with 3 of them?
I guess not. I'm going to take a
relatively brief tenure in Cincinnati.
But Davey has led 4 major league teams to first place finishes.
That's true.
So of course, the Mets in '86 and '88, Reds in '95, Orioles in '97, and the Nationals in last year.
Off the plate to Murphy, 1-1.
Davey became the 2nd manager in Major League history to finish with 4 different clubs in first place. Billy Martin was the other one. Twins, Tigers, Yankees, Athletics.
He had some brief tenures too. Billy could wear out a welcome. I think he did it with the Yankees 5 times.
He can wear out a pitching staff too.
Well, that 81 staff with the A's.
Yeah.
All the complete games.
Was McCaddy part of that? I don't believe he was. Yes, he was, of course.
Matt Keogh and Brian Kingman, Mike Norris.
Mike Norris was the ace of that staff.
Steve McCaddy, now very well respected as the Nationals pitching coach.
There's Steve right there.
He presides over a very talented staff. That's to see Gio Gonzalez tomorrow afternoon. Won 21 games last year. A different kind of year for Gio. Young runs and Murphy fouls him back.
He had it stolen too. He put Murph with 2 strikes on him. Had to be can't take strike 3.
Well, that would be counterproductive.
You can only go so far being a team player.
Well, I don't think that's good for your team taking a 3rd strike, is it? Murphy looking for his 3rd 4-hit game of the year. Fouls back the breaking ball.
One thing I like about day games here at Citi Field, you have the organ music.
You just like that the organist played Blister in the Sun at the Violent Femmes.
I always liked the organist in old Jack Murphy in San Diego. I forget his name. Was it Kenny something? I forget. He was good. He played the best music. He was lively. He played upbeat music on the organ. He was excellent.
Who's the guy in St. Louis? Jack?
It was Ernie Hayes.
Okay. Ernie Hayes, right.
We used to call him Ernie Hayes and his organ. That's an old Cardinal joke. Ernie was a good guy.
And Murph foul tips it. Strike 3. So the second strikeout for Abad. 2 down at the bottom of the 8th, and David Wright will get another turn. Now David Wright, he's 0 for 2 today. He's also drawn a walk and been hit by a pitch. Got hit on the left triceps his last time up by Craig Stammen in the 6th inning. Young at first and 2 out. And David hits one in the air to left center field. Bernardina drifting back. Side retired. Well, the Mets have a chance to avoid a bottom of the 9th. They haven't done that at home in a few weeks. We head to the 9th. Mighty cut by Wright for the 3rd out. 5-1 New York. Center field to left field. Juan Lagares, who pinch hit, stays in center. And LaTroy Hawkins will try and get the final 3 outs in a 5-1 game.
Well, LaTroy has been plugging along for quite some time. His 34th game and hasn't allowed an earned run in his last 9 appearances. That's over 8 innings and going back to June 8th.
At the rough outing in Chicago, where he committed an error leading to an unearned run in the bottom of the 9th, but then bounced back in Colorado with a scoreless inning with a couple of strikeouts. On Thursday, Ian Desmond, Roger Bernardina, and Kurt Suzuki up against LaTroy in the top of the 9th. Mets would love to stay away from Bobby Parnell today. Parnell, who took the loss last night, has worked each of the last 3 days in 3 different cities.
How many time zones?
3. Which, by the way, the Elias Sports Bureau looked this up. Wednesday in Chicago, Central Time Zone. Thursday in Denver, Mountain Time Zone. Friday in New York, Eastern Time Zone. First time in Mets history they've had 3 games, 3 consecutive days in 3 different time zones. But it's not going to be the only time it happens this year because of the postponement in Minnesota.
That's right.
They're going to have it happen again in August. Imagine that.
I'll be on that trip.
They'll have a game in San Diego, August 18th, Minnesota, August 19th, and back in New York, August 20th. Pacific, Central, Eastern.
Correct.
So it didn't happen for 51 years, and it happens twice in one season. And that's something that, again, we've talked about it before. Major League Baseball has got to make some changes as far as the early season schedule in the cold weather cities and schedule divisional rivals in those cities so that kind of thing doesn't happen again.
Agreed.
1-2 to Desmond, who's fly down twice and struck out 0 for 3. Just missed. 2-2. By the way, we talked about Billy Martin and the Oakland A's. 1980, the A's had 94 complete games.
That's right. I remember that. Not the number exactly, but I knew it was something ridiculous.
Full count to Desmond with Bernardina and Suzuki to follow for the Nats in the ninth. Mets got 2 scoreless innings out of Carlos Torres. There's Zach Wheeler, who makes his home debut tomorrow in the final game of this series. He'll be opposed by Gio Gonzalez. A couple of starts under his belt. Done a lot of work with Dan Warth in between starts to alleviate the tipping of the pitches, which was clearly a problem in his last start.
Well, you don't want him thinking too much about the mechanics and worrying about, particularly a young pitcher. You want it to be pretty basic so he can focus on throwing strikes.
The biggest red flag for Wheeler in that start in Chicago was his inability to put hitters away. He had, I believe it was 29 2-strike pitches and 1 strikeout.
He didn't get his secondary pitches over.
Check swing, and that's outside, ball 4. And Desmond's on with a leadoff walk. 5th walk given up by Met pitchers today.
Too many.
Not the way you want to start the night.
Too many.
You'll be happy to know, because we mentioned we were the only action going on today. There are other games going on now. We have company.
Which means that our game ran long.
Average.
Yeah.
Here's Bernardina, who's 1 for 3. See, there are zeros on the scoreboard now. It's a nice sight. There's a strike. Bernardina double to right. Barely missed a home run, hitting the orange line in right field. Came around to score the only Nats run of the day. Kurt Suzuki, who's had a big day at the plate on deck. Dylan G went 6, allowed a run on 6 hits. He's in line for his 6th win. Carlos Torres 2 scoreless innings in relief, 3 strikeouts. Bernardina fouls back, and Hawkins ahead 0-2. 40-year-old LaTroy Hawkins. He's been a terrific mentor for some of the young relievers in that bullpen, much as Jason Isringhausen was before him. Hawkins can do for anybody what Isringhausen did for Bobby Parnell. Mets will be forever thankful.
Well, that's the gift right there for the veterans.
Now the 0-2, and Bernardina down on strikes. 93 from LaTroy Hawkins for the first out of the ninth.
Fastball knee high outside corner. Good pitch. Well, the veterans that helped me the most. There's the Nats right there.
Could get to 500 for the 18th time.
Yes.
Unless they rally in this game.
Of course, the veterans that were most helpful to me were Lou Brock, and I think for the team in '82, we were a young team that won the World Series. The really guiding lights for our team were Gene Tennis and Jim Cott.
Suzuki, it's a double play ball. Quintanilla to Murphy, and the ball game is over. LaTroy Hawkins finishes it up. Dylan G gets his 6th win of the year. And the Mets even up the series with the Nationals at a game apiece. 5-1, the Met win.
Well, nice bounce back start from G, and he becomes now 6-7. He's got off to that bad start. He's 1 win from getting back to 500. Hitting stars for the Metropolitans, 3 hits for Daniel Murphy, 2 runs scored. RBIs from Eric Young. Marlon Byrd again, clutch hitting. Neuenhuis got a sacrifice fly, and Buck got off the snide and got an RBI. So the Mets looking good today. Bounce back from a really tough loss last night.
Game summary brought to you by Lex.